Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to day 2 of the PUBG Players Cup. My name is Kowo. I'm here for another evening. On my side again, I've got the wonderful Mark. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. So excited about what happened yesterday because it was a very explosive. 4 games is super quick, number one. And especially when you've got a team stealing everything they can, it felt a very, very quick day. So I'm super pumped to see how day 2 unfolds. Are we going to have the same pacing? Have teams gone back and watched the VOD? Can they adapt Koa and try and figure out how they're going to be able to get some points? Because we can only take so many teams through.
We can only take so many through, and that's the thing we're going to talk about. This is the second player cup, but there's a lot of TPP sports going on, so we're going to walk you through the format one more time, because there is a lot going on. The green blobs on the left are what you sign up for and what you play. It is the scrims, and from the scrims, you can make it into the Players' Cup. This Player Cup, the bottom one here, the second one, we've had 13 teams make it out of the scrims. So the top 13 from those weekly scrims went into the Player Cup, and those are the teams we have here today, Mark.
And that's the key thing, right? This is the big thing. This is an entry, a gateway, an opportunity that you and your friends can get onto this. You've got to join up the scrims. Obviously, you can sign yourself up via their website. We'll get you some links into chat. And then just compete. If you have to change your team up, you have to change your team. That's okay. If you've kind of a friend to do all 4, it's okay. Put subs in. And then you come to where we are. We're in the opportunity now to make money, and that's where the cash prize pool will be. And then we're looking for a top 8. We took a top 8 from week 1. We'll be looking to take a top 8, and we'll be talking a lot about that today because we'll be going through to the Players Masters.
Players Masters is the big thing, right? That's the big yellow blob there at the end. That is what's happening next weekend already. So you don't have to wait long. And that is a $20,000 prize pool. So that's a whole league above of what we're playing tonight. But there is cash prizes here. We're giving away $1,000. But that top 8 is what everybody's looking for. And that's the main goal. And like you said, we already have 8 teams who made it there. We'll have 8 more teams coming out today. But I think we can take a look back at who made it last week.
Yeah, I think it's key just to remind ourselves, obviously, from last week, from week number 1, we did take 8 teams, and there's no surprise. A lot of the invited teams got through, from VP Navi all the way through to the Foot. I'm really impressed how Geek and Gaming Gladiators played it as well. So a lot of the big guns came out. Week 2 feels slightly different. It's definitely the games are unfolding. That part and parcel, obviously, because we don't have some of the bigger guns. But you got to get through today on that top 8, and you'll be teeing up against these when it comes down to the next round.
You make a point there about a lot of the invited teams making it, right? We had 10 invited teams, and then we had 6 qualified ones. But then we have 2 of the qualified ones here, GG and Slam G, also making it through. And if you look at this a little bit more closely, there's 6 CIS teams in those 8 teams. All right, we have tons and tons of CIS teams that qualified to today's event, and we have tons of CIS teams who already made top 8 in the first one. That region has come to play. That region is grinding. They're putting in the hours, and it's showing off.
Yeah, you can't. This region feels like it's going to turn in from EMEA to CIS plus others. It's super strong. It's super strong. How they break down the game, how the teams are forming, it's really, really key, because they're not just explosive. They're not just going full send. They're not getting all the points on the board. Some of these teams are able to kind of play out a little bit more of a slower game, but I love that they can adapt. They can go really quickly, breach the compounds, but then they can lock it down and hold out. And obviously we're seeing a lot of this when it comes down to the TPP format. Actually, teams maybe going to the king of the castles, holding out the compounds early on.
Yeah, we see this in both perspectives. I would say we see teams going for these early compounds super aggressively and sending players super early there. So not surprised to see that transition into a game mode where defending is even easier, and teams are realizing that very quickly. We'll talk about more what this separates the TPP from the FPP in a bit, but I think we can look at the leaderboard and see how the teams have set themselves up yesterday, because some teams already did a lot of the work, and then I'd say there's one team that already did all the work yesterday, Mark.
And let's remind us, obviously, a great point you made yesterday on stream. The cutoff for week number 1 was at 47 points. Foot Esports got through on 47 points. It was tight. Fairy Tale was a couple of points behind them on 45. And yeah, one team has kind of conquered that threshold already. That means that we are going to see potential changes to how this lobby plays. And actually, if we go back to EMEA, if they continue farming points, if they continue stealing away, it's going to force that kind of 7th, 8th and 9th spot, even maybe the 10th spot, really, really tight together. So we look at teams like the Myth-Off, we look at teams like Grove Street, Bushido, Win or Die, who are down there. They will not be happy that this far down. They want to try and maybe get an early couple of games, but it's only best of 4.
Yeah, it's only a best of 4. You got to kick it off fast. You can't wait around. Hope to get a good game at the end. We already saw this in game 4 yesterday. It gets a little bit more loose. It gets a little bit more crazy towards the end. And again, especially when there's a leaderboard where there will be maybe 3 to 4 teams already qualified after 3 games, and there might be 3 to 4 teams at the bottom of the leaderboard who don't feel like they can make it anymore. So that last game is going to get crazy, and that last game is not the one that you want to come down to. That's not the game where you want to make it in. You want to lock that in early. Like an Ascend, for example, they play another good game to start the day, like they did yesterday, and they're already looking really good.
Yeah, and it actually came in that last game, wasn't it? Ascend closing out. Obviously, the Bison was the king of the castle with Chris. So interesting to see if he opts to go for that again today, but a good standing. 35 points, not bad. They've done well when it comes down to kill. They did struggle a bit of placement, but so did the Hand of Hope. Like, they struggled with placements. So obviously, a lot of zones shifting away from these teams. They farm the points, and as you said yesterday, it's not as easy. You might be coming late in the zone. You do need to get as many points as you can, but trying to find those kills, trying to get the steals, is not always as clean cut as we'd like to expect it. And then we look on the other side of things, Koa. Look at Redline. Redline's placements, 14. They're struggling with the kills. They're a team that can get into the zone. They hold the compound down, but there's so much fighting around them. They're just not getting involved.
They're also just playing a lot of games with not a lot of players, right? Remember that Rondo game where they flip a bike and they're instantly down half their numbers? They've had a few games like that where they don't really manage to get enough numbers into the mid or late game to actually fight. And then we see Evas there in those silos on Rondo, hanging out, hiding out, moving around, getting themselves, I think, maybe 5 placement points that game, something like that. So a really good stand from him, but unable to go for any aggressive plays because he is just a solo, right? And there's multiple ways to get your points on the board, and there's multiple ways to stay in the competition, and then Redline have managed to do that. And I think we're going to forget about the low kills if they just win one game today, right? Then suddenly they're all the way up there and they're looking to solidify their spot. So completely in the competition, like almost the entire leaderboard. I'd say everybody can still not make it, and everybody can still make it, except for M-Man, who are locked in. Everybody else is still fighting for everything.
We're fighting for 7 spots, guys. We might say 8 a few times, but we're definitely fighting for 7 spots today. I can't see him throwing it. But look, as I said before, it is a best of 4. It is day number 2. We've got to close these one outs. Let's get on in, though, because our round number 1 today is underway. It's going to be wonderful Miramar, and the flight path is a shocker. A southwest pushing east to northeast, but it favours so much down on this south to southeast corner. It screams for me an island. I'd love to have an island, but hopefully it might play a little bit more towards the northwest, and we have a standard circle, because we can't have another Miramar like we did yesterday.
Nothing gets casters more excited than island circles. Talking about island circles, predicting island circles, getting island circles, other casters getting island circles, and you don't get to cast them. Everything is a chance to talk about island circles. We'll have to wait and see what the zone really does, but you're not wrong. The plane path is super, super south. If this was Erangel, we would say Phase Airlines, but it is Miramar. I've had them confused yesterday. Oh, luckily, not a lot of people noticed, but I'm very well aware of where we are right now. And yeah, like we said, right? One explosive game for any of these teams, and suddenly they're looking super good to make it to the Masters, to play for the big money.
Let's talk about some of these teams, though, right? Expectations for me, the Myth-Off shouldn't be down here. They should be really fighting a lot harder, beginning with the kills. They got a couple of bad circles, get all of that. I think Rondo was their best game. We saw that sort of duo hold out and got 2nd place, but they're just not bagging the kills. Also, I'm going to put Grove Street and Winnell Daz, I mentioned before, in there. For me, those teams should have been a little bit higher up. They just kind of struggled with getting in, more importantly, and then converting some of the knocks to kills. And I think that's been a real big problem. Only 4 games to do, Koa. Can they do it? Is there enough space? You already said the leaderboard's super tight.
It is super tight. I think, like you said, right, it's also just transitioning positions into kills and stuff. We've seen Win or Die, where they are one of the bigger names to come into this. I was really expecting them to do exceptionally well here. But they couldn't really get any sort of clean fight. No fight that they didn't lose 1 or 2 players in. No fight that they would just wipe and move on from. And that really holds you back, right? That really limits you to just a few points a game. Even if you get a 4-man wipe and you lose half your roster, you're really not looking at much more than maybe a 6-point, 8-point game. And they haven't really been able to string any of those together. So they're now looking at the lower side of the leaderboard, but like we said as well, it is still so tight. One win for win or die, and they probably end up in third place right off that win, right? So it is still super stacked. And you should look at the leaderboard out of interest, but you shouldn't expect it to sort of mean all too much yet. Because, like we said, one good game, or 2 bad games for a team at the top as well, and suddenly you've dropped so far down.
Yeah, and then we got to also factor in that we're only playing one of the maps that we get on our normal circuit, right? So we look at yesterday, the Ascend done pretty well on a Miramar. Can they do it again? We go to the other side of the table, unfortunately. Bushido, like, really low points. Win or Die and Myth off, really low points. But obviously with that circle, that shift down towards the south, they were the teams getting caught, sort of rotating their way in. Lost the Owns, well, 100 ADR, just sitting on the outside here. I do really like this 5 stack. Obviously, you're able to farm so much information out towards the west of here, but for now, there's no reason for them just to leave. Bushido has moved in a little bit further down the road, but maybe just happy neighbours. Bushido really need to settle. I feel like yesterday they were fighting for position when they really didn't need to. Sometimes taking those head-to-head fights sort of benefits and getting those kills early on might actually change how this team plays out.
Yeah, haven't had the most beneficial fights. You see Hands of Hope, a team also that I'd say started rather well and then fell off a bit. I think it's fair to say yesterday. Just looking for these early positions, looking to see if maybe that barn is free for the taking, but they hear the shots already. They know it's not possible. ADR also slowly moving out of Los Leones. A team that popped off in game 1 and then kind of disappeared for the rest of the day. Yeah. I think is also fair to say. I think they had... Didn't they have something like a 14 kill win in the first game, and then they end the day on 29?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Wow. Okay, so they have 5 points in the other 3 games, so completely disappeared from the map. They're going to be looking to either, well, I mean, I'd say they would be looking to fix their mistakes, but if they can just repeat that one more time, that might even be enough. So I guess just get a 14 kill win, you know, just do that.
Well, they got it in Miramar, right? So maybe they only prefer one of the maps on the circuit. They're in good position, though, especially the zone does pull back towards their way. It's Chris just lying up. Now he's got the Scar. Bison doesn't really get the connections that he wanted for. That's swap to the Mini. And Eman, well, get repositioned. Has to maybe turn back. So looking forward, trying to gain an element of high ground here, but already been taken by It's Chris. I really like where Sen sort of, especially in the Val, the Mars, sort of the drops they go, they kind of do just 3, and It's Chris kind of plays out a little bit further towards the east, and as long as he can defend off a crash, he tends to find, 1, lots of information, very early game, especially these teams rotating around, but 2, an opportunity for the team to kind of rotate into his position and get ready for that kind of phase 2 move.
Yeah, that's the name of the game is information, right? It's something we've talked to death in PUBG broadcasts. So important. That's why we see these high ground positions all the time in the early game. You just see a little bit more. It's why we see the glider being so effective, because it's essentially just a drone. It's essentially kind of a bit of a map stream for yourself. Just flying around, just looking around what's going on.
Let me ask you a question, because
yeah,
you break down the game really, really well, and I definitely feel like more teams are starting to use the glider, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's still not common to a lot of the teams. I'll have to pause that thought, because actually Hive is about to peek over the top here for Redline, and Vampire sneaking up. I've seen the guys. I don't know if they're going to engage just yet, but oh no, Nailup's coming his way.
Nailup's looking, but hasn't spotted him yet. I wonder where the last Redline member is. I don't think anyone's seen him. Oh, Noddy might have seen them from the hilltop. Noddy's all the way up on the Minas rocks. All the way up there. I think he spotted them. I think he basically just kept Nailup safe here. That would have been a pretty easy sneak up and get the job done for Vampire. But they have been spotted from all the way afar.
I think you're
Again,
right.
Another high ground position. Another high ground position that just saves the day in the early game.
Information. All about the information. It's very different to farm the information. Present it. Didn't quite present the shots I think as he wanted to. And boys will just move on towards that kind of graveyard area. Keep the car safe. We'll try playing a little bit more of the open terrain, a little bit more of a split for them, but it should be okay. Just need to ensure they don't get third-partied. They're one of these teams yesterday that wanted to be the third party, but ended up being the sandwich. And as a result, unfortunately tapping out.
Sometimes you're the bread, sometimes you're the cheese. It's how the sandwiching goes. But I do agree on the gliders, by the way. I think they're still not maxed out. I think more people could use them, but what you have to consider as well is on Rondo they're hard spawns, right? On Rondo you know where they're gonna be, and that's where a lot of teams sort of tailor their loot spots and their early game around them. You still have to find the gas can, so that's a bit of an RNG element, but that's usually doable with 4 players looting. Like, that almost always works. But on the other maps, it's so inconsistent. There is spawns, they're mainly on the edges of the map, but they are random spawns and they are quite rare. I'd say they're maybe like a 30%, maybe a 20%. It's hard to really do the maths. But they are most definitely rare and random, and so that's why a lot of players haven't really built the strats around them as much. But I think we're gonna see more and more and more of them the further this game goes on.
I agree. I'd like to see him become more of a staple vehicle within the additional maps as well, because I do think they've been at verticality towards the game, and there is a very good type of player that can use them very effectively. TMO, well, they rotate past. I actually thought maybe Nailip was going to redirect the 2 driving forwards in towards Zico's position. I do like where we're line up at the moment. I think you're right. I think the high ground was key in ensuring that all the bodies were alive as Hive was sneaking up. I also like where Zico kind of moved himself to that position to re-look, try and get an angle, try and catch maybe some of these players on the side of Cantera. But not the case just at the moment. Still a full lobby. The rest of these teams, pretty much all of the teams now are in. We have 1 lurking player from TMO. Apart from that, everyone's waiting for 6 seconds until we know where the zone goes.
Yeah, a bit of an entanglement there. Redline TMO, right? They've left, Zico has left that compound, and TMO took it right in between, but none of that really matters. And there you go. Sometimes playing edge is just fine. Ascend, the men, they've got tons of space because they weren't in the center of the zone, and now suddenly they are, and they still have that space, and they get to choose and pick what they want to play. Chris even going further, going towards that hell compound underneath the church. And men have to be a bit careful because it looks like they're almost getting breached here by Bushido, willingly or not, knowingly or not. Looking like anybody's going to be fine for now, but these are the teams that are benefiting right now. Everybody else is just in a massive migration.
Yeah, the early rotation for these guys, and they were down. You're right, Sins sitting on the outside edge, now fighting himself in the middle. I like that they've readjusted really quickly as well. We've got to remember, game number 1, Miramar was a good map for them, so maybe 1 more map, more points on the board. That will secure their spot. Bushido have locked down one side, Eman on the adjacent side, and tend to find both these compounds kind of live out. And maybe wait for the later game. Hive moving back though. MSJ, team that needs to confirm some points, but on the north side, got to be careful. Teams sort of working their way around the bowl. If they get a bit of a pause, they're able to kind of look down, provide that pressure. It's really keen at the moment. It looks like a lot of teams are stacking out towards that northeast corner of this zone. If it continues, we should start losing some numbers.
Yeah, it is the classic, right? Zone shift southwest, and the northeast is stacked because that is the old center. That's, if you're looking at a rotation when you're outside of the circle, sometimes it's very helpful to remind yourself what was the old center, because that's what usually is the most stacked and what will stay the most stacked. And if you can get around that, if you can do what a team like TMO is doing right now, for example, they're going all the way around Power Grid, that can be quite nice for yourself. Or if you do what without Dope is trying to do, which they want to go around that eastern side, but they are going through exactly that old center, right? And that's why they find so many players in their path, and that's why if they're not very careful, they might lose 1 or 2 here.
Do you like this position without Dope? As long as they can hold out, make sure they double check back. Anyone sort of lurking out from Lost Leons, be careful. And they are obviously not opting to move as well. You can see them in the distance farming damage, but no knocks just at the moment. So teams, give or take, have found the compound. It feels like it's the calm before the sandstorm at the moment. No one's really sort of clashed paths just of yet. It's definitely worth shouting, obviously, with Ascend on a big 2-2 split. Actually, I'll speak too soon. Without Dope, identify one of the players from MSJ, and now they're going to go try and put a point on the board for themselves.
Trying to punish, trying to aggress. They got to be fast about this. They have a good idea of where that player is. Kantix has to try and delay, but Util's coming his way. More and more nades raining on in. Can he even get out in time? I'm not sure. It didn't look like it. Nailed him without Dope. Know what they want. They spot him out and they take him out. And just like that, you've gotten yourself a good position, right? That's one way to do it. We talk a lot about teams rotating and how they outmaneuver each other and how they move around the map very smartly. Well, sometimes aggression works, but that was a little bit too much. Just chilling, over peaks, gets knocked, insta-flushed. You hate to see it.
Yeah, you do hate to see it. I guess a long distance overview. So, shift's not too far away. We'll take a donuts up. So, there's an element of high ground here in the church that the guys from EMEA might want to give up, but multiple teams. Ascend going for the claps as well, so they're going towards where it's crisp. Captured very early on, and a few more strugglers getting caught out. I do like what we're seeing from some of these teams, sort of punishing, stacking numbers up against individuals. It might be hard for hold here, but I can't see any team kind of crashing this 2-2. I think the danger for them maybe is the church. Maybe see teams like TMO sort of work in and try and find that position. So be careful just in a moment, but they've got an option. If they have to collapse, they can do. It's just a bit of an arse to get off that high ground down here.
This is something I find really interesting. In first person, if you're holding the church, let's say, right, to show presence or to even know what's going on around you, you will have to peek every now and then, and you will have to show yourself, and it will be doable for other teams to realize, hey, this is one player, two player, probably not more than two. In third person, you could very easily have a 4-man hold in the compound, but only show one or two of these players. So maybe that leads us to a sort of situation where teams will be able to just bluff out compounds way more, because it's so much harder to realize how many people are actually in there, how many players are actually holding down that church. And maybe EMEA or the men get away with that because nobody is really super confident in the scouting they can get done on that compound.
Yeah, and with the element as well, they're able to keep behind cover for a lot longer. Here comes Red Line. Lane comes up, Grove Street, able to get the res back on Seifu. He was down, but for now, looks like they're going to try and back away, get out of here. It's going to be a difficult ask. Maybe Red Line's just a bit too far away. The bait comes in, they hold up and nail it though. As he will go down, Seifu launching the nade back. Going to try and do everything to stop this push here from Red Line.
Nice few shots back from Seifu, trying to equalize, trying to keep his teammates in the game. I'm not sure if he'll be able to do it. Shots are raining in from afar as well. He's got to dip down right away. Kill stolen away from the team we talked about so much, from the men in the church. But Redline have made that approach. They have made the entry into the zone, and they now know next to them is a 3-man. That's going to help. That's going to make things a whole lot easier, knowing this is a team that's already weakened. This is a team we can maybe punish later on.
Yeah. Big compound to hold us 3. You can see they are in, unfortunately, without Dope. First team going down and out. So rotate in, the car backflips back and parks up on the garage. That's going to be the shack. 80, big 2-2 split here. I know we talk about these splits, but I think Will or Die might have isolated one. There's a quick kill confirm. It's only for them just to push over, but at least they know maybe continue using this kind of, this dip, this ravine. And they can maybe isolate one of the final players. They can have the ability to do just that. Actually, I think it might just be on the outside. Any further down towards that south side in zone for them, I think they might be exposed, especially from the high ground, but I have to wait and see.
Have to wait and see. This is a brutal zone for a lot of these teams. Wild Division, they should realize that this is the Rainbows leaving. They should realize that men left the Rainbows and should instantly look for a backfill here, but they might be too late now. I already see other teams taking that, so one of the very few positions that just opened up in the zone is already taken again by Bushido. Win or Die, making them move on in on the north. They're going to try to play this as slow as possible, take a few of these kills, but so many teams have to move here, Mark. Win or Die, just one of the few of them.
Yep. 80, going for the emergency evacuation back over the other side, pick him up. They've lost now that car in the process. That's going to be a bit of a factor because they are sitting on the outside edge. Will die, taking the opportunity now to rotate a little bit further in. I'm going to be careful, don't only a buggy in hand. It might be a bit of a carpool situation as they go back forward and back. Bushido, though, as you recall, went for the 2-2. Loved this wild play here and positioned in towards the bulk. Be careful, though. Putting the nades out. You can see very clearly. First nade goes in and it bags and punch. There's the second one. He comes round and well, it's a Wild West down here. They're down to their final player and he's nowhere to be seen. He's actually going for a full send. Why not?
Oh, this is rough for Wild Division. Where do you go at this point? Surely Ascend going to be blasting at this as well. And there it is. They say, well, thank you. We'll pick that one up. 40 damage, all that was needed for the kill. Rough for Wild Division. Especially because they were the first team to see this. To see this compound getting freed up. But then they were just a little bit too late. A little bit too slow on the reaction. And Bushido is there faster. And Bushido is just locked into that position. Great use of util. Instantly blast them out. Nice few points and a big location as well for Bushido here that they were able to hold on to.
Yeah, one aid's coming in. Double like gets away. Might scrap that. One now gets away. Sorry, I'm crazy. It's going to be very difficult. And I think this all comes part and parcel with this zone. Lots of open terrain and speed to get to where you want to. Hasn't timed just correctly. Two teams are going to fall. Red line out on the south side. They're going to work their way through as Grove Street disengage from this one. They will be waiting for them sort of peek over the top or move round, and we can actually see from the minimap 100 ADR also looking maybe to take on the third party. There's no reason for them just to get involved with Grove Street just yet as they have the hard cover, but I think they're hoping maybe this team crashes into them. I just can't see it personally. I think it's going to be the fight now for the high ground, and everything as mentioned before, they gave that 2-2 split up for their verticality. Now they've got more teams coming their way to steal it.
But unfortunate for Redline to lose that player earlier as well, losing Nail Up. Now they got to send. Noddy's going to go below the church, hide out there for as long as he can. Zico is going for the south ridge. You see it on the map split. He won't be living very long there, I don't think. There it is. We see it in the kill feed as Voxus finds one. Zico gets found by Justus with an MK14, no less. But yeah, big frags for Grocery here as well. Every single point matters. They're not super favored by this zone. Every point they can grab before they have to send into a dip and sort of bow down to the church overlords is a very welcome point.
Church overlords love it. But it is the case. They are in prime real estate. And it's the one team we don't want to be in prime real estate, right? Everyone else are fighting for a position. You've got to try and ensure if they get a knock, maybe get the flush. Get that confirmed straight away. Seifu using the train to his advantage now, keeping a very firm eye on Emman. So we'll look back the other way. Emman just about seeing him. Seifu having to take to the dirt. Maybe get that med on, but he's given an opportunity now for the team to move in. And now for teams that have not got the option like Seifu has, they've got to take head-to-head battles. Bushido, the handover, and AT all going head-to-head here. And a huge nade. Maids go back again, 2 down. Third one will go further in. Doesn't quite get the connection they want. And unfortunately, the third party action is coming from 100 AD off the hill.
It's just absolute disaster in the dips here. OE3 already losing members as well, even though the nades are good. Both teams can play that game. And like you said, Bushido just hanging out, third partying, having a good time. Another good molly comes on through, though. That's a knock and a flush, I believe. That's pretty big news for OE3. Now, that knock would have helped them loads. Not quite able to connect. But either way, if they don't close this fight out in a massive fashion here in seconds, I don't see them getting out.
Nope. Good repeat. Hear the shots on the other side. Unfortunately, no. Bushido's already repositioned. They are closing. They've actually sent another body over, so they are going for more of a 3-1 split as they want to try and clear this sort of northeast corner. Down to the final 2 here. 18. Car does come over, gets caught. Unfortunately goes down. Final player now is Keyboard Smash. So he finds a dip. He's able to stay alive here, but the blue is going to force it. Nades will come through. That'll be confirmed on the board. And unfortunately for AT, there's not much more left to give here after phase number 5. I think they're tabbing out in 9th.
Honestly, at that point, just just try and heal through the blue, right? You've got so many Bushido members in front of you, it's just impossible. It's impossible to get on through. The circle was super rough for them. Couldn't get themselves a beneficial fight or a fight even for a position. At least they did win the fight versus the Hands of Hope, but won't get them into the late game. 8 teams left, win or die. Once again, bleeding members, losing numbers. TMO looking better at the moment. Just like that, they've created a numbers advantage, but they're realizing as well this church position is an absolute problem for us. I don't know if Justus spotted the player there. He might have. That will at least give them the information. But oh, I don't think he knows. They're going to overpeak this. They're going to get nailed from the side. Just like that, Mosport takes the first.
They do. Trying to figure out how close. Does move back to position now. Has seen him. So using the Sparta using the ridge well. There's the peak. Trying to catch him on the nade. Oh my god, he got deleted after the peak. Ross able to try and hold out. They're trying to dump as much U2 over this ridgeline just to try and stop, though, the push. Molly's going to be too far as well. Just looking to go for the repeat. We'll see the player right in his ridgeline. He's baited into that.
Oh my, so clean from Men right now. Shro, he's been a monster yesterday. He's looking to do the same today. Nidix has the TPP advantage. He gets the flashbang out, baits him with the bullets as well. Oh. He should get this. It's good damage. It's another connect. He's clean on the peaks. But is it enough for his team? I don't know.
Win or Die have just coded the ridge. They've stolen the 2. They were left Nidix on his feet. Now they know where to plot the molly. Perfect molly comes in. Scrap that second molly goes in. Nidix is cooking. Fortunately for him, he's not going to be able to get all the kills, but he still fights it. Nidix gets another one down. What's going to take this man out? He needs some meds, Stokowo.
He needs the meds, but he's got so many bodies around. He's got 3 teammates that were just flushed over his ridgeline. He wants to secure the point now. Doesn't want to overpeak. He doesn't know that Win or Die have already got the complete other way. He's going to get the first aids from his teammates. He's going to survive here for a bit, but is he going to make it into the zone? I'm not so sure. He still just put up a massive stand for his team, Mark.
Insane. Double molly. Great use of the TPP ping. Great use of the flash as well. And not over peaking. He knew they had a player further back. Presenti. Well, gets presented with Chris. He lays down, but good shots from Kilikai. Able to push him back in. Level 3 helmet and the level 3 vessel can't keep him in. Rose Street, though, getting a few kills down, but they're going to be falling in 6th place. 5 teams now remain as the zone gets more crazier, and the meta store is the higher ground, but the higher ground has been taken away. Bushido now backfilling this one as well, so they're taking over as kings of the castle. Can they close out a win? A desperate win will be needed for them to climb the leaderboard. For me, Ascend looking to try and close out this Win or Die, but 8 kills is not a bad start here for this team as well. A couple of low on the leaderboard teams, fighting for every position they can.
Picking up the kills especially, right? You can see in Ascend, sure, they're 4 men up here, and they are in the late game, but so far that's 3 placements and a kill. So that's 4 points. Win or Die, they're already on 11 just at this point in the game. Church finally taken over by Bushido. Finally gotten that for themselves. They got to be a little bit careful because I see a Noddy in a car there below Church. I think he's absolutely playing tricks on them right now. Red line, cheeky solo, hiding on out in a car, and I think he's looking at these Bushido players, but they haven't spotted him. They're right above him, and he's just using that car as a bit of a, bit of a hideout, bit of a hole to be sitting in. And honestly, I think there's a good chance that we'll at some point either see a Bushido player jump down or an Ascend player pull up right in front of Noddy. There's a chance he still gets kills here, Mark.
Nidix able to get in as well, so he's definitely got the meds. He's literally full send to the corner of this compound as well. Bushido very focused in on the low hill battle, and I think you're right. I kind of, if they don't go now, if they don't spread out towards the west, there's no reason for them to either. They're going to have to try and play late game, which means they're going to have to jump down. That's going to be punishing. It might come down to timing, but we already know Redline are good at getting placement points, not as many as the kills. Bushido with 11 kills. Another team that's really reset. That's a huge game number 1 for them.
Huge game. They were last yesterday, and I said if they get 1 win, they'll be up in the top 3. Well, they're looking like it right now. And they keep continuing on like this. This will be close to a 30-point game here now. Knocking at 1 out of Ascend. Brex has a small rock to play with, but Kiliakai should be surely gone here in a matter of seconds. And they'll just continue racking up the points like that.
14.
Oh, Celtic nails him as well.
14. That is insane. Oh, do I run out of zone? The verticality, as I said before, is just so overpowering here. Especially in this format, they can stay close, they can stay clean. Don't have to over peak to get the information. You know, Rex is going to maybe try and put 50 on the board. So he just ducked behind the rock, and he's going to go down. That's 15. That's a big, big game for this team. Ascend, unfortunately, down bodies now. No helmet for Pains. You kind of need it in this late game, especially if you've got a team right above you.
He does have a panda on his head, though, so that's pretty good. That might be a good distraction.
Extra HP.
Yeah. If I'm trying to get a headshot and somebody shows me his panda, I'll be mighty confused. I can tell you that much.
Take it. This is the point though now, isn't it? This is the point where Bushido have kind of locked out that east side. They think they're completely clear here. They can't see Redline. They can't see Nod underneath, right? So do they jump down? Enix, on the other hand, though, he went for a full send into the compound as well. He's been blessed with the zone. Phase number 8, well, it's looking like it's going to be going close. I think Pains might be on the right side of it. It's going to end on that cliff face. Can Chris get in? Or will Ascend be playing this one out? 4 versus 2 versus 1 versus 1. Bushido has full control.
Two things are going to happen here. Bushido is going to kill it, Chris. There's absolutely no way that he ever makes it in here. There's a chance he denies because he realizes it's impossible, but he would have to knock 2 here. He would have to start moving so Metabay peaks, and then he would have to knock Metabay, and then maybe even knock another to even have a chance. And even then, I think he wouldn't make it. So he's going to try. He's going to try his best, but probably go out. And I think Bushido are going to stay on top until the very, very end. The only question is, do they find Noddy ever? Do they maybe even hear him running? And do they maybe realize at some point that there could be a player in their compound mark? Because you can see them getting a little antsy about it because they haven't ever seen Noddy. They know Ascend is down to just Pains. So they're wondering, where's the other 2? Where's those 2 players that we're missing out on?
Yeah. He's not in zone though. Look at, you can see on the map in the top right, in the bottom right hand corner, he's just out. So he's going to have to move. And unfortunately for him, he's going to come down to timing. Does he time it correctly? Does Bushido jump in front of him, or did Bushido leave it late enough that they kind of run down or jump down, forcing them to have their backs? If that happens, then we can see maybe the other solos, so Pains and Needix really activating, and they could cause some major problems. The other way around, though, if I kind of feel like they take the fight with Needix for TMO, it's just going to be a landslide for Bushido. They're able to take the 1 versus 1s. The only opportunity that I feel is Nod's already out the car. Is they play round towards Nod, and then the other 2 become big factors in the end game.
I think they're 100% playing into Needix here. They want to keep the tag on for as long as they can. The problem is, it is still Needix. He was popping off earlier. He had some nice peaks. He had the shots. He's got 3 gear as well. He could be an absolute nuisance. Doesn't want to move all too much. Doesn't want to give the audio information away. He's been hidden for so long. But again, the zone's going to push him out very fast here as well. So if he doesn't get that good backstab in, this is looking beautiful for Bushido. If he manages to knock 2 just at the very end when they're already trying to move down, it could be disaster for them.
He's going to have to move before that church as well. It's going to come really close to it. I feel like he wants to go towards that south side and round. Seen all the smokes.
I think he's going for the boxes here. You saw him eye up the boxes there a little bit. He was figuring out if he can make the cross without being seen. He was figuring out if he can play them. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if he's left it now, let the Blues pretty much on there. It's forced the church off, so I think he was playing the edge there. Actually, there might be the church on the higher ground, and they're expecting a player just to be in that sort of lower dip as it moves around. Needix is going to have to start moving now, and he's going to have to go towards the boxes. The molly,
beautiful.
Molly comes in, does catch him. Let's go see the players, but the molly has done the damage. Bushido, well, send TMO
so
out.
Good.
Better game from him, and Needix playing really, really strong game number 1.
Perfectly timed molly. Perfect. Just when the zone comes out, they get that molly in the corner. Now Paints is hurt. Noddy wins it though. Noddy wins it out. That's big. That's a 2nd place right there. And that's Bushido flying in. Not wasting a single second. Noddy is looking for the deny. He can't find it. Bushido with a massive 18 kill win here from the church. But they didn't have the church mark. They took that for themselves.
Yeah, and actually, did I take it? It was kind of given up, right? We saw M-Man play out. They're being aggressive. They took on TMO, and Needix refused any sort of opportunity to kind of continue the sweep round. And during that period of time, that's when Bushido was like, oh, there's another compound that's free. And it wasn't the first time they'd done that. Bushido getting free passes to compounds as people were leaving quite early on.
They still had to hold it off. I think it was Grove Street maybe that was breaching. Yes, a 3-man, but they still stayed completely clean, right? They still kept 4 up throughout the entire game, and they put up a huge amount of frags. I really, really like what they did in the early game. Just making sure to punish in the I think it was Wild Division, right? Coming down from the Bigfoot compound, instantly punished by Bushido, and then they realize we have a chance here. We can take the church and we can dominate this game, and that's exactly what we talked about before the game started. We were like, okay, any team with a win can get themselves back in, and that's exactly what Bushido has just done.
Well, yeah, they came in today, with 8 points, 9 points? It was really low on the leaderboard, right? So, like, the fact that they've just bagged a huge amounts of kills, let alone 10 points as well. And this is where they kind of split over. They're still over 2-2 here, using the TPP to their advantage. Double nade goes in. Nice re-peek as they stack up. Unfortunately now, for a while, the final player had to go for a full send, and it wasn't much. But then it continued for them. They played really strong. They played aggressive. They were happy holding their areas. As a result, the teams were sort of sending it their way, and they were putting up a huge amount of kills.
Huge. A lot of teams struggling on the edges here, getting themselves their 3-4 points. Sometimes that's just what you have to do, right? That's all you can do sometimes. And that is the job you need to get done. And sometimes the job gets done by someone like Needix here, who steps up and puts up a last stand as the rest of TMO just got decimated. 10 HP is all he had to work with. A flashbang and a bit of camera work makes it all come together. Big frags from him, big survival from him, taking out Gedrox here as well. A frag he had no right to get.
No.
Just puts him into late game, keeps TMO in the running.
It was all about that peak for me. That was a game changer. Like, using the flash, and he doesn't over peak, does he? He was holding out. He knew there's a potential of a player with a anchor position for them. A little bit of a spray, pop the flash, wait for the flash to go off, respray again, didn't quite get him down. Time, cool, calm and collective, and then peaking at the very, very end. Kind of like a big shout for Needix, though. But again, another team that needed big points. For me, win or die, storing, fighting. Grove Street was storing, fighting even with the free. Bushido at the bottom, smashing and destroying it. These are big free teams at the bottom of the leaderboard, which will change things up. And you're right, it's so tight. One game is going to have a huge impact.
100%. This is going to have big moves on the leaderboard, big consequences on the leaderboard. Somehow Redline again, talked about them having way more placement points than kills, right? Somehow they get themselves six more on those. 20 placement points. 20 placement points is probably going to mean that they're second place in placement points after this game. So they've been sneaking into these late games, and Naughty does it again. But you have to give him credit, right, Mark? That one fight versus Paints, that's 2 additional points. Those really matter.
They do matter, and they might be sneaking themselves into placement points, but we've got to sneak ourselves into a break. Don't go anywhere, though, as it'll be time to take go. We'll see you guys in a few.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
And we're back. The breaks are fast, the games are fast. Bushido just rocketing themselves nice up that leaderboard in a very fast fashion. Mark, thoughts?
Fast. Definitely fast. No, it was a good game. It was a really good game. I think it's definitely worth highlighting again how Bushido was moving, right? They were on 2-2 splits. We saw 3-1 splits. They took compounds really early. They actually denied a lot of other teams taking the position really early on as well. And then eventually they claimed themselves to high ground and defended off, as you made a point. So really good play. And one game will make a big difference, though, when it comes down to it. Only 3 games now remain. The question is, though, who else is going to try and secure a spot? And with M-Man being up for so long, Kowo, they were still a few points away from some of the teams that might desperately need it.
Not as many as we thought, though, right? We saw them in church. We saw them picking up the first few frags. We thought they would just dominate again. It wasn't meant to be. They got stopped by Nidex himself, and makes that a little bit easier for everybody else to get points. There's another side of that coin, though, Mark. If you're one of the other 15 teams, you don't really mind M-Man getting points because they're not competing with you. You're competing for 2nd to 7th or 2nd to 8th, excuse me, for those 7 slots. So M-Man getting points means at least nobody else is getting them. So not the worst thing in the world, but we have 3 more games for you. I said it was fast. The break's already over. The yapping's almost over. We have a Tego for you guys coming up, and I can't wait to see what the players have to bring.
No, and you remember the wildcard maps, if I can even call it that, the Tego and Rondo? M-Man were the ones that bagged the victories, though. Yes, they can. They do it again. Southeast, pushing up towards a west, does favour the south side of the map here. And again, I like those sort of boxing areas. If we get an ending, that'd be great to see. But generally speaking, I think most teams will get quite a clean drop. I think there will be a few arguments when it comes down to the hard spawn cars, though.
There's always a bit of a contention, especially around the south side where Gedrox is going. That's a very contested hard spawn sometimes. Now we see Ascend again going for fishing camp here. We saw that yesterday. They were contested. Going a little bit close to the men again, who have shifted a little bit further south. Other than that, looking very peaceful here, to be honest.
Yeah, it's quite clean. Remember yesterday, though, Grove Street took advantage of that fight between M-Man and Ascend. They came sailing over really quickly from Palace. Didn't really claim anything because they were denied, but the speed of rotation was really, really good for them. Just waiting for the zone now to expose itself. Most teams will take her in a normal drop spot that we saw yesterday. It does go late, so late on the plane path. Yes, you might be down early, you might be looting, but you've got to figure out how you get in. We've got a river dividing the 2, definitely more land mass up towards the top, and please, oh please, do not go to Godok.
You're tired of those, yeah?
Oh, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like, it's just mental. While we've got a bit of peace and quiet, though, I think we just need to have a quick look at that leaderboard, though. After our first game of day number 2, no huge change-ups here from the top side. But apart from that, Bushido, they went from the bottom to 3rd place.
Plus 13 placements. just in one game. That's how it can go. That game was massive for them, and they went from, I think, from 1 placement point to 11, so not all too bad. Redline keeping true to themselves, right? 20 placement points, 11 frags. That's kind of the reverse of what a lot of other teams are doing. And then TMO as well, climbing a fair bit. Win or Die climbing a fair bit. And everybody else still staying in the competition. It's still true what we said earlier. If Tuxlavena or Wild Division, when they win a game, instantly in that top 8. So still very doable for a lot of teams at the bottom.
Yeah, one game, changing it around. There's no other major changes. Good to see, obviously, Win or Die have jumped up. The Whiff Off changing up as well. Redline, obviously, moving up slightly as well. So it does make it super tight. We'll have to wait and see how things unfold. But we need to get back to sort of game. And it's match number 2. And it's going to, no surprise, obviously, with these teams getting ready to move in. You pick up, though, coming in for Win or Die. They're going to go pretty early here. They're going to try and find a position maybe on that north side. Just surprising, the red line are in zone. They're in Godok. They're on a 2-2 split. And they're praying that it might continue to go their way.
Yeah, they gotta be a little careful though. They already have a few EPs coming their way. They'll have some early rotations from the likes of Bushido as well. If you're wondering how these teams rotate, by the way, and if you want to learn a bit from these teams, !map, you can watch the map stream. You'll learn a bit of how they move around the map, which is such an essential part of esports. You can also go back and look at that early game from Bushido in the last one, because honestly, they did some really good things there. They had some really nice reactions that set themselves up for early kills. That's not easy to do. And sometimes the setup is harder than actually getting the kills in the end. So you saw them nailing Wild Division there with the util. That was doable because they just beat them to the punch and they beat them their numbers. So rotations are really important. And if you're just watching this right now, you see 3 different EPs all coming across the center of that circle. Everybody's trying to use the planes to their advantage. And Zico's going to have a lot of parachutes above his head in a bit here.
This is dangerous for Zico because they're all coming at the same time as well. There's an argument that there might be 1, maybe 2 teams trying to play for the same compound because they're neighbouring some drops as well. See how we can deal with it. He's on the roof. He has gone to FPP, so he's waiting for the exposure of the players. Shoot! Now gets an eye on Win or Die. Full send down. Here comes that mini spray. Not enough connection. Zico only letting his position known.
Gonna pop off a few shots. But the main focus is on not forgetting any of these EPs, not losing track of any of them. That's another helicopter coming over, but there's no players on it. Nobody left on it. I think that was just Ascend pulling one just as a bit of a bait and also to block out one of the others, right? You send it on a cooldown. If you use your own one. Now Brex finds Nelcop. That's an early entry into Bushido. They've walked up to the compound. They've snuck in. And they've done the damage already. Iroh is looking to get the hell out.
Yeah, also Sophie getting knocks on the kill feed as well. Alright, can he escape out? Oh, just about. On the roadside, using Trench for his cover where he can. Might need a bit of help from Meta Bay and the team, but not. They've turned tail. They've run back the adjacent way. Back on the other side of things, well, Grove Street, we saw the knock. We sort of confirmed. That's 1 point on there for Seifu. To try and pick up the remaining players here from AT. Difficult though, bit of open terrain, very difficult for the Grove Street to continue applying an element of pressure.
It's classic Tego fights. Lots of different trees, a lot of forest. They're getting mortared meanwhile from, I think, probably Redline in a bit more central compound. Bit of a distraction, bit of an annoyance. But they let their presence be known. They keep the space for themselves. And they send AT away. That can help you in the later game as well. Having that bit more space gives you a bit more information, gives you a bit more options. That can all be quite nice. Even though it doesn't look very impactful at first.
No. I actually think the mortar might have got rid of the red mist from Grove Street, trying to push forward into open terrain. They've reset. They've gone back towards their compound. Little time. Taking an E-pick up now. They've landed in Godok. The cars rotate past. Definitely worth noting there's some wider rotations. TMO going up by Shipyard. They're going to be coming in the sort of north side as well, so they haven't taken an E-rotate, but they've obviously played in very wide. And then we see on the south side now, the team's opting not to go across the island, hoping that it's going to pull back towards the south. The hands-off also clashing without dope.
That's a bit of an early clash. Trying to get the points in before you have to make the rotates. Recap's getting in the helicopter. It's about to take off. Jumping in the Batmobile. They have been a bit surrounded, but it looks like they're getting out just fine for now. Gonna reset in the compound. Reconsider their options. Get that roof angle instantly.
Nice.
Everybody loves it. Get a bit of elevation. Get more information. Get a nicer peek. Skenin finds a knock that instantly puts the brake on Hands of Hope.
Yeah, he can't get the flush. I think he's looking to maybe rotate or seeing if they can maybe pull up in this sort of angle he's looking for. I love they haven't overextended too quickly as well. Without doubt, expecting that res to happen. They are applying pressure, but talk about applying pressure, well, it's a really wide rotation on the other side. They do actually get confirmed. Black Hive down 1, 2 are knocked, and Vampire 21, while the final player does pop the smoke. I think he'll be looking for a vehicle and looking to extract now. He needs to fight another day.
Rough start. Rough start. That's the team who got first in the qualifiers, by the way, if you do remember. They were one of the names I was looking at because players we've seen around the scene, but not popping off on a major scale. They were 9th before this game, so absolutely in contention. But that's a rough start to the Tego. It's a game they'll have to try and just scrap a few points out of. They'd be happy about every single point that Vampire can get here. And then they'll reset for game number 3 and 4.
They might have been holding on the other side of the rock, and I thought without doubt was going to clash heads. JDR unfortunately been spotted, but the rest of them are over. Grocery leaving Palace open towards them, so they're able to sort of backfill and take the position away. We've got 52 seconds left before we see the next phase. A couple of teams still on that south side. The handoff there. Wild Division obviously going for a 2-2 split, and without doubt catching the 100 ADR. I think they're going to be too keen to move over too early, shall we say. Send early kill as well. Rex does pick one up. The rest of the guys, well, they're farming information and looking to ensure 100 ADR, if they need to rotate far, they'll be able to do it with some of these vehicles.
Ascend have put themselves in a spot where they're kind of in conservation mode. They're kind of just on that cusp where a few points each game will be enough for them to make it. And sometimes you see them switch their playstyle because of that. Hold that thought though. That's nice shots. That's good shots with the AUG. That's good shots with the M249 on the other side. This is escalating much more than I thought it maybe would. They delayed their fight a bit. They brought it to a different part of the map. And now they're just squaring off.
Yeah, I have to. I think they might have seen the cars going over it, expecting that was going to be the handoff. As they rotate in, they get caught. There's another one. They'll now reposition. Someone's going to move his car towards the south side just to maybe stop the third-party action coming back in from 100 ADR. Maybe even Ascend, popping a few shots their way. They've got to deal with a fight. Now they've lost the zone. Phase number 2. Doesn't tickle as much as the late game. But it's going to be down to timing here. They can't get caught in a long urban battle. They need to get rid of this, pick up the meds, and get ready to rotate in because they know teams will be closing the bridges out.
Yeah, it's always tricky. How long do you stay to try and get the points? How much is the risk of disengaging, right? One time you run away, you get taken out. Sometimes a Panzerfaust walks in and your game's over just like that. You hate to see it from that POV. Absolutely donked. Nothing to do. Hero is there though. Gets the revenge. Gets himself 2. And brings more pain to win or die. These guys, they haven't had any clean fights. They've had like 1 on the last Miramar. And that's all they've had all tournament. They looked so good in PEC. I really expected them to run over this lobby, but so far, not even with the Panzerfaust, it's working out all too well.
It's difficult, though. It's a very different game. I think I'm with you, though. I expect him to play hyper-aggressive, play the style that we see them play. Yeah, I don't think he's actually saw him go down. He's in the smoke. He's now dance around, and the spray eventually does happen, and does catch him. Should be able to get the res back on. Interesting to see the Panzer. Great nade, though. He does actually pick him up. Does go through the door. I think that didn't go through the door, actually. But does pick one. Lucky enough for them. They still got 1 HP. I'm surprised in Panzers yesterday in Koho, they didn't connect. Today, at least we're seeing some connection.
Yeah, At least if you're the one using the Panzerfaust. Sadly, if you're the one getting blasted, it is a rough weapon to be facing. It's a very one-sided thing. Walking around the corner and your enemy has a Panzerfaust in hand it's never a good sight. Red line. Losing a player here, I believe, if not two. Have to get the hell out of Dodge. It is the men who have walked in. And once again, one out in a scrap.
Fab and fight still happening in Fishing Camp as well. But down bodies, a handoff push towards this sort of west side. 2 versus 2 here. Ensured destruction. Maybe it's kind of unfolding. I love Sloy's position though. It's going to be able to peek that roof so well. But the zone's going past. The time is now ticking. Only 2 meds in your back pocket. I think just needs to be careful.
He's just chilling. He is just chilling. Accepting the fact that they're taking a bit of blue damage. Once again, it's rough to get out sometimes. Sometimes you can't really evacuate. Sometimes you feel like your best chance to get any points on the board are in this fight. And then you stay as well. So it's tricky situations. Nabat leaving now with Sloy Jacket still on the roof. But they seem to be well aware here. Just chilling, he's already looking. He's already trying to put his camera around to figure out what's going on there. So both teams seem to be well aware of the situation. And there still seems to not be an easy way out.
Nope. The Jammer pack, well, it's about to expire. Must know he's up here as well. At least though for the handoff. Maybe about move to a position baiting or trying to bait the run in. Didn't quite connect the way I feel like he wanted, but at least he has an option. He can potentially leave this fight. Yes, it's not great, but he could try and allow Sloy an opportunity to try and hold these guys out. Maybe that could go to the north side and then go for that reposition. Oh my no, we're going Godok, no!
Confirmed Godok hater. Mark Power. Look at Chris,
chaos. It's gonna happen.
What? You see
How's
Chris
Killian
land
got
that
away with that?
kickflip?
Yeah, but Killian just drove through downtown Godok, mate, and he's fine. Like, no one challenged.
He's chilling. He is just chilling, eh? Killer Kai flew through. Chris hit an absolute mega kickflip with the pony there, but unfortunately gets taken out in the end. Bushido hold that edge down. Ascend realizing, hey, we gotta go deep here. We gotta go greedy. And they do pull that off. Probably their best option at this point. It's still rough to just be in the middle of a city so early on in the game. But they really didn't feel like they had enough terrain, enough info on the outsides. They just wanted to send it. As we have so many players engaged in these early scrimmages here. We're already down to 36 mark.
Yeah. Wild's going to get a complete free pass on that north side as well. AT refusing to go in just at the moment. Grove Street will have a free pass on that south. Everyone is on this south side. Everyone's expecting the same finish as we had on PEC. But this is very different. TPP, City ending, Godok, engage the sweatbands. This one might be sweaty. I'll be interested to see if we go shotguns, panzers, how much is util, blue zones could be a massive impact in here as well. Just to really dig out people that try and hunker down.
Yeah, this is where the gameplay changes a bit.
Yep.
Usually, you can just watch this stream, right? Look at the little gun icons over everyone's head and get a pretty good idea of what guns are really good, right? Tons of AUGs, a lot of minis, a ton of MKs. That's kind of the meta right now. There's a few barrels every now and then, but it's really just tons of AUGs and MKs. In the city, if you find a shotgun, you are picking that up. If you find a Panzerfaust, of course, you're not even doubting it. But if you do find yourself a shotgun, you will be picking that up. Now, Ascend, prime team to pick up the shotguns, especially because they're down to numbers, right? They will start to play a little bit more ratty, a little bit more defensive. Other teams in the city here, 4-mans and 3-mans, they can still allow themselves to play a bit more just calculated, longer range guns.
Yeah. Shots go from 100 ADR, trying to defend off where they can. There's only shift away. 80 early rotation for them, really good play from them. Grove Street need to figure out how they get in and where maybe they position up now because the zone has shifted towards the northwest corner. This is about full defense now, trying to stop M-Man coming in. And Hand of Hope, well, you've been blessed with the fact they're not going to see the end game of this one. 11 teams, 35 left alive. We're going urban here It's going to be a very spicy takeover.
Can't believe it actually went Godok.
Oh, it's always the case, man.
I swear it isn't, but you're making me doubt myself now. You're making me doubt myself.
Godok.
It's also, I mean, we have to be. I can tell you, there's one person in the server right now that's really happy that there's 35 alive, and that's our observer, because a city circle with 15 teams alive in phase 5 is the absolute hell. That is a nice nade from Shro. The man's been an absolute legend in the last few days. That second one is not looking too bad either. He's been one of the pillars for 100%. The men, and oh my god, what is that?
Pillar, guys, the foundation. He's holding the team up. What a 2 for 2 nade, 100 yards just picked apart with utility. I think we need to have a minute silent, not just for the nades, but for the observers, and the city ending is going to be painful. What's his kill count on now? It's got to be up there. It's got to be our kill leader, surely. 18 kills, GG's.
Yeah, when the second place is on 10, by the way, right? That's the impressive part. It's crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. He's putting up salute numbers. A man got, I think, 39 in 12 in Korea. That was absolutely mental as well. And then Shro is doing the same thing here in Europe in the TPP circuit. Not this game yet. He hasn't gotten any of his flushes yet, but once they make the move on over. I say that once they make the move on over, Hixus finds one with the Dragunov, and just like that, that's a ghost car rolling around because it has lost its driver. 5 nades though. If he gets one in the door, it's game over, and that is looking juicy. Nice
Just
throw.
Need one. Just need one. Great throw. Great pick apart. Good shot for 100 yards. Did spot Shro on the other side, so opted not to leave in the car, but as a result, we're subject to the fail.
3 seconds. Another circle gonna reveal itself.
West, yes.
That is, I mean,
that's even worse.
You're saying yes.
Yeah, it's even worse.
But
Ages of chaos.
And we're also looking at a double-digit game now for men, I think. They're just gonna take control of that outside. If they lock down the Wild Division as well, they're looking hot for this game.
You're right. And it's actually, fortunately for the teams that are still remaining in Godok, how much U2 are they going to spend to kind of navigate their way around, find the next street over, or have the ability to peek around the corner? It's going to be punishing. Pro Street use the smokes now to use the opportunity to evacuate towards the north. They're going to try not doing its Chris backflip, and you do find a clean rotation path through at the moment. The Wild Division did leave the north, and they continued that rotation in towards the rest of the town. So they're in a good position at the moment. In Grove Street, I think they're second guessing how the hell do we get through without getting shot at.
I was shaking a bit there because I wasn't sure if they were going to get through the fence with that car, but they barely get there in time. Barely get enough speed. Sparta fallen to Wild Division on the western side. Aogiri 3 still lurking around the east and just chilling, ain't chilling anymore. Taken out by Hero. 3 frags for him already, not including this one. They are going to try and push that, surely. They are going to try to confirm that with util and then pushing it out, but not sure how confident they are in the push. If they move towards the circle here, they're going to walk into the open arms of Metebe.
He's just chilling. He's got his deck chair out there. He is waiting for the sun to shine so he can make hay. Go straight on the other side. They go all the way around. They're going to challenge him, man. Unfortunately, though, they're coming towards nade range as anybody's looking to try and maybe cook that nade, just trying to find the information. And Grove Street don't have the intel here, so they've got to try and farm it pretty quickly. Project as well finds a nice little position between double rock. Pops the shield as well, but needs to be careful. Just keep an eye back towards Godok.
Look at Mosport.
Yeah.
Look at Mosport on the minimap. He's got a big angle here. I don't think Ixleft or Project Ixleft is living here for very long with Mosport on the off angle like that, but yeah, that's the fight kicking off. That's Metebe getting involved. It's the other team falling though. It is just chilling. And teammate going out. Shigu falling as well. Groza out of play. Hero still standing. and Bushido have to be a little careful. They're feeling confident right now after that last game. They're going for a lot of solo plays here, but that is the plays you can get punished on the easiest. And there's the frag I was hinting at. Mossbot had the angle. He let him walk into the trap, and then he sprung it. And now the men are looking to take this. If there's any good nade towards these two cars, it's absolute disaster. Look at that. Beautiful from Mossbot. Nikita follows it up, and Grove Street is just gone.
Absolutely gone. Sophie's the remaining player now. They didn't have any information over here, so I'll give them that. How they got here is always a question as well. Zone shifts back towards Godok. We are still in the field. Hey man, want to clear this and then move in. Now with a random car, I think they're going to have a really good idea potentially where Seifu is holding. It's the time his approach back in. I kind of feel like at this point it's a full send, but TMO sitting in the last little section of the compound, and Nidik already cooking so far today. I think he'd be wanting teams to push his way.
Send still staying in, and on the other side, Masajka. Team that was looking pretty okay on the leaderboard as well. But they have been rather quiet. Trying to get some of these kills going. Sadis is going out. Paints gets the flush with the blue zone. Big for Ascend. Every single point matters. They're on full salvage mode. They're happy about everything they can pick up here as a duo, especially with circles that have been not the most beneficial. They will try and continue to just be nuisances, just be annoyances, just pick off one here, one there.
Yeah.
That's the game plan.
It frustrates me a little bit though sometimes. I'm a huge Ascend fan, and when they get so far ahead and they do change, you do see them change their mentality of how they play. Sometimes they don't get themselves in. I kind of feel like they sometimes might want to keep their foot down on the gas and continue to push forward. At the moment, it's working. Second place, 41 points. So hopefully they will be one of these teams that get the qualification through. Kind of guarantee at the moment, because they will scrabble a couple more points here, being one of the last teams sweeping through the town and maximising what they can. 3, not too bad. A very, very dangerous duo between Pains and Kilikai.
Need to give Killy a kill somehow, so we have the team ace, you know, one on every member. But it's looking like he might be walking into Noddy here. He might be walking into Red Line, and they've been mighty quiet for this entire game here, Mark. I haven't heard them pop off a shot in a long, long time, so surprise might be on their side. Killy is ready with the micro Uzi. Good weapon for these kind of fights. Not the worst. He's even tanking a bit of blue. Noddy hears him though. Surely gonna use that. And doesn't connect the shots. He makes a big mistake here. Killy comes back. No chance. Already getting shot from the other side. Had to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And just like that. Trap is sprung. Paints is by himself.
I'm pretty sure he saw Seifu, right? He saw Seifu, so he ran back the other way. I was trying to reposition. Trying to figure out where Pains was. Can hear him moving. Now jumps out the window. It's going to give it a sound cue as he will follow. Org in hand. Not too many bullets. He's got a couple of clips remaining. He's sharing that over 2. So yeah, he needs to maybe get the kill. Seifu spotted. See, he's crossing the road towards Wild, and Seifu taking a 2 versus 1. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Seifu is out. Grove Street is out in 8th. We're into the placement points. We're into all of these teams putting at least something on the board. No surprise, we still have the men farming outside of the city. We have almost everybody else losing members. Almost everyone just beaten up, weakened. Paints goes out as well, down to 6. Redline gonna have to make a big move. Masajka gonna have to make a big move. Even Bushido have no building left in the zone. This phase 7 is gonna slaughter so many teams, Mark.
This is gonna be quick. Please take a moment to spare and pray for the observers, because it's going to go pretty quickly now. Send, fortunately, out. See with the teams in the zone moving away. They're always going to get help. Bushido holds that roof. There's the 1. There's 2 from Iro. MSJ falling apart. Scrap that. Deleted. Snyder picks up one side, but not able to come for 2. They want to be one of the last teams out, but that's a hard push now over. Bushido have the high ground, able to look over the top. TMO already in the position, waiting, praying for these teams coming their way. Yes, deploy the smoke just to kind of deny the shots coming in from M-Man, but they're in such a good position. They just want to take the last team that comes out this Godok madness.
Everybody wants to be the last team standing, right? That's a secured 2nd place. Now Bushido wrapping south. We can see that on the minimap as TMO is making the last stand. And honestly, I don't know if Redline is ever going to make that cross, ever going to make that push successfully. You can see Nedex balancing his attention, bouncing around, trying to do everything at once. Justus from the inside with the folded shield. That's going to protect him against some of the util coming his way. But they would still have to land the shots here.
They do. One division on one side. Molly doesn't quite get the full connection over the top. Second one will. Might be able to get the flush. Nope, grenade will go through. Justice takes one. I'll take the other. Now we're for top 4. 4 versus 3 versus 2 versus 2. Our division sweeping in from this north side. They've got to deal with TMO. But the problem with M-Man being so far out in this west, everyone has to face in towards the town. If they want to rotate in, they can't use the outside edges of the building. That means we're going to see potentially Wild Division, Bushido, and TMO duke it out. Maybe Bushido get away with it on the south. Maybe they don't need to get fully involved. But I kind of feel like a 3 versus 2. Maybe the numbers are not going to be an advantage here in the city.
Time is a big factor, right? And I think we're going to see TMO stay in the longest. Then we're going to see Bushido trying to make anything work. But even Bushido is happy. Just sit and hopefully take out 1 or 2 of these other city players. Because they are realizing the big dogs outside the city. Big dog are the men with all the angles. Yeah, 11 already. I said it would be a double-digit game. They've already achieved that now even before getting the last few kills. Because they are, in my mind, the chances of them winning this game, at least 90%.
Yeah, if not more. If not more. Yeah, they need something special to be pulled. But with all of the other teams remaining in the town, they are spending util. Now, the players, spray will go through. He does get the connection, and man pick up the shot from outside. Our division down to 2, really. No res going to come in. Unfortunately, though, Bushido under pressure also from the south. They do find 1. Unfortunately, TMO, they're going to be down to 1. Bushido's 1. Wild Division's going out, and it's going to be a clean sweep here at the end.
Metapay got 1, though. The P90 strikes. At least 1 knock towards the men. The nades coming out, though. That's looking not all too bad. Not too shabby over the top. But it is a flush from Metapay. Helping out a bit, but the way I see this playing out, Nedex is going towards Bushido. Everybody is fighting for just a few meters, just a few centimeters of cover. Anything that's inside the circle. And the huge amount of space is still controlled by the men. Nedex takes the time, makes the run.
Doesn't know. He doesn't
Does he
know.
look on over? He's trying to find him. He's trying to spot him. I don't think he's seen him, but he gets the nail now. Now he knows now, but they both know Nedex. That man has a camera too.
Oh, no. No. Nedex was like, I feel like someone's there. It's going to close down. 3 versus 1. Just as well. I'm going to try and get on the defense. Flash comes out. Stro is blind. I'm trying to use the rest of his util. Stro going to try and close this one out. Little spray goes through. The door is closed. Not open for business here. TMO come on the other side. Oh, he gets him. He's going to fall down. Bushido, final player now. That puts it down to a 2 versus 1. And it is winnable here. P90, 2 versus 1. I'll take it all day. Oh, scrap that. He's tapped out. Oh, no.
You thought it was winnable. He did not. 16 frags for men. They are picking it up where they left off yesterday, right? That is a big game for them. That's 26 points. They're just sucking out of the lobby, sucking out of the leaderboard, and keeping for themselves, making sure they win, making sure they don't just qualify for the next stage, but staying in first place here, undoubtedly so.
Can't deny, as I said at the very beginning, we're fighting for 7 spots, right? And it worries me. They take so many kills away from teams that are going to need it. It means that mid-pack's going to be really, really dangerous. It means it's going to be very explosive. And obviously, with Tego down, it means we've only got 2 more rounds left of today, but we need to crown our top 8. Again, it's going to continue to come down to maybe one game here, Ko. It can change things for certain teams. We've already seen it from Bushido. Ascended it yesterday. They leveled all the way up towards the top. When are we going to see the TMO? When are we going to see the win or dies also do the same and really bounce that leaderboard?
Yeah, that's the question, right? We've got 2 more. We're going to 2 more maps. That's all the chances you're going to get. There's not much more to it. This one, honestly, starting extremely aggressive, this one, right? So many players dying in phase 1. So many fights. This one here that we saw sort of kicking off twice. A repeat fight. This is another one. Just trying to fight for a winning compound. Trying to use the Panzerfaust. so many of these scraps for good positions in phase 1 and 2 that we ended up with a pretty tame mid-game here.
Yes, there's a lot of space, wasn't there? A lot of space. That nade actually going through. Did he go through? Oh no, he was in the room, but that's catching him because he's blocked by his own player. How did the guy get through that one? Will baffle me. Shro, no, showing up again. Back-to-back nades to pinpoint accuracy. Really, again, I think from this point onward for me, they were chilling. Absolutely chilling. They were happy. Yeah. They were clearing the teams coming their way. The zone pops there, and they just went, do you know what? We're going to take this west. We're going to clean it up.
Yeah, they get a really good setup here as well. We could see Grove Street had no idea what they were walking into. They had no idea about the angles that they were dealing with, and Mossbot does a really good job at that. Keely, well, he tried. Can't really make that work. Can't really get the push going. Bushido hold on quite nicely, and Bushido make that competitive at the end there. I would have loved to see him try. I think denying in a 1v2 is a crime, or should be, maybe. But the position was super disadvantageous, don't get me wrong. But he does have a P90, right? He has a P90, he has 3 gear, it's a 1v2. Would have loved to see him try, but he decides, these guys are in first, they're 2 man up, they've got my lockdown. I'm tapping out, I'm not giving them another point, and that's fair enough.
Yeah, it's dangerous, isn't it? Very, very dangerous. But good game. Actually, really good game. We didn't quite get the go doc that we was praying for. But it does go towards the field, and it came down to an element of control at the end. Really like how they played out. Really like the M-Man, obviously top of the table, and there's a reason why. But actually focusing on some of these teams that were in the town here, Koho, they maximise points, which is good. So yeah, be really interested. We'll go to a quick break. When we come back, we've only got 2 more rounds. It'll be Rondo before we move over to Erangel, and every point is going to count from here on out. So see you guys in a few.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game.
Welcome back, everyone. First 2 games done. But before we get out of our condo and go to Rondo, I think we need to actually catch up with that leaderboard because it is going to be very explosive. Only 2 games left. There has been a few changes, though, on this leaderboard. And that bottom line, that point, the 8th place is going to get tougher and tougher.
Not as crazy of a game for the leaderboard as the last one, right? Where Bushido went from 16th to 3rd, but they have pushed themselves even further up here. They have gotten themselves into a 2nd now, looking really, really good to lock in their qualifications. Redline consistently getting into late games, even though they're not getting huge points on the board, means that they will push themselves up to 4th. And then we have Masachka getting a few points up to 9th, getting really, really close to that cutoff. So, like you said, it's getting tight. It's staying tight. 40 points in 4th. That is looking kind of good. But then 5th place, only being 5 points ahead of 9th. You're not safe there at all. You're just really got to play 2 more good games. 1 huge game. However you're going to get the points. None of these teams are out of the running just yet. Neither is a Grove Street on 21, right? They are absolutely still in it. So I'd say everybody, almost everybody on this leaderboard is still in it to win it.
Yeah, they are. They really are. This playing path, though, for map number 3, or match number 7 in total, because we are best of 8, is the south towards the north. But, Coro, big question for you now. Big question. Week number 1, 47 points cutoff. Where do we expect the cutoff to be? I know it's early. I know you don't answering these questions early on. But I kind of need to draw the line. I kind of need to know where you're thinking, because the first and second, yeah, let's tab them off now. But I worry about some of the other teams that are in that sort of 30-point bracket. Where do they need to kind of be aiming to maybe secure their spot?
So it's an interesting question. I like the question because last week we didn't have anyone running away with it, right? It was way closer all the way towards the end, and we ended up with first place on 81 points. Now after 6 games, not 8, we already have a first place on 92 points. So they could easily end up on 110, 120, whatever, and they could suck up a huge amount of points. But then everybody else chasing has way lower points. So the cutoff could be quite similar, honestly. I think you're going to need 40 points minimum. And I think to be safe, you want to be looking at 45, maybe something around that line. So I think the cutoff is going to be a little lower than last week, just because the men are taking away so many points. But if they completely start fumbling now, and if they start throwing these games away, then suddenly that cutoff can rise again. So it's a bit hard to predict, but I'd say if you're on 30 points right now, getting yourself up to maybe 45 should make you feel quite good.
So mid-40s is what we're looking for. But yeah, it's going to go down to these last 2 games, really. So halfway through, give or take, maybe the south side of the zone. We do play out towards the west. We have a lot of unplayable, though, on the furthest point of the west. Plus a lot of verticality here with some of these high pillars that we lovely see in the background here. A few teams, though, jumping out, picking up the vehicles, going to rotate their way in. But when we look at the zone, we've only got a couple of teams that sit within zone. So there's a lot of opportunity for teams to rotate in. And we've already mentioned this point, though. Some people like the gliders. Some people like it's Chris, like the QBZ. Oh, he doesn't quite get the final couple of shots. As looks like Eman, well, the backup, the reinforcements, the taxi, the Uber didn't arrive in time. No 5-star review just yet. And Kilikai looking to try and deliver a package back in the way of the taxi.
He's trying to deliver. He had the Panzerfaust down.
Oh, no.
Switch into the AR over the top. It saves the day for Paints. That was almost a flush. Ascent getting aggressive. Ascent again looking for singular points here, right? I called it out last game. They're already in that salvage mode where they know a few points a game will be enough for them. And they're getting them early. They're getting aggressive. They're running at these guys. And just like that, the aggression is not expected by the men. And they're down to half their roster.
And that's what I was saying before. That's the type of Ascent I love watching because they can go get the early points. They can be aggressive. And the speed to try and save the knock to a flush was pinpoint accurate. They're going to be able to control a lot side of this south side. And man, move on out. Hive, we've already spoke about them actually topping the qualifications of the scrims to be able to deserve their spots here. They've not performed, I suppose, to the expectation we saw in this lobby, but nice early rotation, taking some early compounds here, some hard cover, forcing the split away. And Zero, Swag, well, he hasn't got a car, so he trying to swag on his way out towards the south. Unfortunately for him, he might get picked up by the other half of the split.
Super rough for Tuxlevena. I was just about to comment on them having the entire circle for themselves, having to react early, as you always do when you get the center, right? Some teams will come and knock on the door very early. They haven't really reacted in time to punish anyone, but at least they've kept swag or zero swag alive for now. As I say that, finally the angle is there for Marcel. Finally he realizes what's going on and he does punish. And just like that, our last place team is suffering more and more casualties. They've been a bit outmatched in this lobby, it feels like. But,
oh no.
Oh no.
Listen to the car. Oh, 2 for 2. I think the car gave away the position. He might have been able to sneak under the radar. Doesn't even get out. He's like, I'm staying in the car. I'm done for this one. But that's unfortunate for the team because you're right. They had the zone. They were the only one really in that centralized position. A lot of JS9s. We've already seen across the visualization of the guns above the player's head. So a gun which we know has the fire rate. It doesn't always pack, I suppose, the damage as per the feeling of the amount it fires. But we'll have to wait and see. A lot of teams on their rotation in. A few pickups coming in. Grocery over the top here. And MSJ, a team who potentially still in striking distance, but they're just outside the cusp. It's currently sitting in 9th spot. You need to have a good game here.
Yeah, they're fighting for every single little digit point they can get. As the men come in slowly but surely. Bit slower than they wanted to, and much lower in numbers than they would have wanted to. But they're now spotting a solo. That's the thing you'd love to see. Might be the only fight you could ever take with a man advantage, right?
6 shots.
Is spotting a solo. Nedex finds Cypher on the other side. Grove Street is in a bit of trouble there. Yeah, and look at the men. They're just fully aggressive at this point. They want to punish. They want to take their fights. They know that they've got this in the bag. They're having a little bit of fun with it.
He's going in for it as well. He's turned back for it. He thought he was turning away. He just got away with it. He just got away with it in time. Waiting for the helicopter to evac him. Off he goes. Maybe take one of the high pillars, centralized zone. We'll get away from it. Safely, as you said, in the kill feed is going down. They did take an E rotation, and unfortunately for them, they lose a body. Again, only 2 to go. A team which I highly expected to be on the top side of that leaderboard, just not really been able to piece together. He's covered 7 games so far. Don't forget it is a best of 8, guys, so do have one more after this, as I said before. So if you think the games already have been explosive, wait and see for the last one.
Tough circle to maneuver. E pickups on the mountaintops. Plenty of people having angles on you that you almost feel powerless against. And then you got teams like Ascend running around on foot trying to punish you. You got the men driving circle around you. It ain't easy in this lobby. We have tons of qualifier teams in this one. Some of them have really made a stand and others have struggled to adjust, and I can't fault them, honestly. It's not that easy. Keyboard Smash has found an interesting way to maneuver himself around the map. But Shigo is there to try and punish Nedex, who quickly turns that one around. And that right there is a good reason to play AUG. Those shots just hit a little bit easier when you don't have to control barrel recoil.
Yep. As if you can control the barrel recoil. I like the AUG. I can hold that one half together. I love the fact that the Keyboard Smash we've now named, and he will now hold out. It's got a Panzer. Compound's pretty good as well, so I need some points here. See, I might move a bit further afield. I think they're still trying to farm those points. They're a team that can get aggressive as well. Nedex really showing what he's got to deliver. They're on the top side of the cutoff point at the moment. As you saw from the leaderboard, they are in 7th place, but it is pretty tight. A couple of points here and there between these teams all around the cusp. Well, a team that delivered game number 1, securing their spot, is Bushido. Just move in, just on the west side.
Trying to scare off that glider. Few pot shots. Generally not a battle I would advise, especially because you're still on the ground and you still gotta worry about all these infantry troops right next to you like TMO. Just like that. He's gonna lose half of his life. He's gonna be a little bit careful and hit it by. He's gotta reconsider where he wants to park his car. They're about to maybe lose this bit of terrain to TMO, but Celtic isn't going anywhere. Again, a team that's really caught up with the confidence, right? They've realized, all right, we're pretty good now. We can start taking these fights, and sometimes confidence is key, and sometimes it just gets you punished. Instantly losing 2 there.
I love it. He was cheering him up. I actually thought they were going to take it as well. And the third party comes in. Huge damage, TMO. 2 lose 1. All right. Something down, but Edic's there fighting, unable to keep his body playing it alive. They'll be playing now as a 3. Third party again continues. They'd all fall in the ways, and Sparta from the other side, from the compound, delivers a package. All right, it's going to be down. Bushido might have to fully disengage. Scrap that. Bushido, it needs to disengage so much so. They're out in 15th. We'll see them in the match number 8.
A lot of the big dogs getting punished here. A lot of points being redistributed to the poorer teams on the leaderboard. It's gonna make for an even better match 8. Circle centers up right around Black Hive in the car park compound. We've seen a car park ending on a little bit of a different spot on the map yesterday, but this one is also quite an interesting one. Surrounded by mountains, so a little tricky. And then we've got people like Gart just hanging out, just chilling on top of a mountain with a Dragunov. Unfortunately, no suppressor. That could make him even more annoying. But you park your car right next to him, you start taking some shots far away, you're out of the lobby real quick.
He's blessed. He's still got the zone. How many more would be the question. Redline, a team which loves to find the zones. They now find some neighbours. The handoff moving away in a bit of a 2-2 split as they are crossing the road. Nod, they'll identify the south side there. They'll all try and hold out. Trying to park the car. Be careful because the garage is explosive. So, we've seen some of it go. Move back away the vehicles, but he's be really careful where he parks. They've got to keep the tyres alive, especially if the zone shifts further afield. But that opening knock, that might give them the opportunities now just to kind of cross and maybe go for a full breach in this compound.
Not looking that good. Not looking super hot for Redline, especially if there's a little bit more of util coming in just like that, not flushed out. I want to see the stats on how many games Redline has been able to keep 4 up, because I just barely remember any.
I feel like it's 3 all the time. That's their optimum playing.
It really seems like it. Plenty of times we've seen just 2. Plenty of times they've lost Seiko, they've lost Nail up every now and then. It's hard to play out these games. It's very, very simple when we say it, right? Just keep 4 up. Yeah. It's not that easy, obviously. But if you find yourself constantly being a 3-man, that's just the number 1 thing you got to work on first. Again, it ain't easy, especially in these lobbies. But it is a thing that you'll see all of the top teams be extremely good at. Power in numbers is just so real.
Well, I think the best example at the moment is Black Hive, right? They completely dominated the scrims. Top coming to this lobby here, some invited teams. It really changes how the game unfolds, how it plays. It's going to slow down. I also expect it when we go to the Masters next week. I also expect it completely to reformat again when we then see the Supers as well, the Super Cups and the Master Cups. So every step in this format is going to change how these teams play. For now, zone number 2, 36 seconds left before it exposes, and see if we get a bigger shift, maybe down towards that sort of south side. More expecting the northwest shift. Squad division has to move in that area. I think they want to be in their cars just as it kind of connects. We'll have to wait and see.
It's good timing for Wild Division. I like it. If they continue this send, if they have a decent pathing in mind, then they can be in a good position in their circle and all driving with momentum when the zone pops. And then they should be one of the first to pick good spots here. They should just send down, send it past this mountain, don't even stop. I hate that they're slowing this one down. Should have kept the momentum. And then they would even beat teams here like Grove Street on the pathing. They've stopped, however. I'm a little scared for them because of this man on top here. Gart. He can be an absolute nuisance. And he could slow them down even further. So that might be a little troublesome.
Got to try and get points now, isn't he? TXV, Turksley. Just try and figure out where and what he can do. But I'm with you. I thought Wild Division was just going to whistle past this mountain, continue driving. Obviously, if the zone did play back, they could have dropped the handbrake and spun back rounds. They've lost all shift forward now, so they've got to rebuild that momentum. Turksley on the other hand, though, no momentum really. I think he knows he might not be coming out from here, so trying to catch any more knocks, maybe catch a couple of steals. There's a lot of fighting. A lot of teams now need to migrate their way in.
Redline pulling up. Nailed hits a banger.
Nice.
Big frag.
Clean.
Hoping he can keep himself alive. The man has a very big head in game. He is one to get flushed out quite a lot. Now Zeko down for Redline. Don't think they're going to stop for this. Don't think they are going to put all the resources into res. Once again, you caught a glimpse of it. There still is guard on that mountain. The absolute biggest problem maker for all of these teams if they would stop and Redline go send it through. They're looking for a circle position. They're not looking to just get stuck on the edge here, get their tires popped, get their game done.
I like Black Hive's position, man. I'm just on the outside and get a lot of information. Oh, he's being blocked from there. Obviously with Redline losing one on the rotation, that allow him to sort of come off the high ground and run his way in. We are seeing the running teams though kind of take an E-rotate. As you can see him now coming over the top of Black Hive. So I do like their position. A bit of control here as we are down now to 14 teams, 44 alive. So there is some space, but there is still a lot of water on that south side. So expect the bounce up, a hard shift away. That's what Black Hive are trying to play for.
They are in a reasonable spot there, but I would even expect this to go southwest. I think it fits in there. Now we're seeing Redline and TMO in the best positions in this circle. Maybe a bit of Grove Street, but I don't think they're in the best spot. They're just playing a bit of low ground. Already 3 looking to take a fight on the edge here. They've already gotten a knock on Nama. I say they got a knock on Nama. They haven't gotten that. That's their deployable cover knocking him down. That's a disaster for them. They might go on this.
I love it. That's not the first time I've seen that either. Did they know that it's them on the other side? Do they know the Dorito? So it depends if they picked it up, coming out from the sky. Going to try and get the res. They have done pretty quickly. So I'm trying to get the tippy toes. Should we look a bit further afield? Keyboard smash. Pops the smoke. Going to try and done other shots. There goes that shift. Let's go back towards that sort of northwest position. Black Guy would be happy where they are, but this south side fight needs to continue. No more Dorito throwing here for Wild Division. Got to clean this fight and get shifting back towards zone. Back the way they came.
Such a hard fight for both of these teams, especially Aogiri 3 trying to get in there, trying to get aggressive, but the off angle from Shui from the blue is doing so much work. No chance for them to really engage. Now Shigu getting picked apart as well. Shots coming in from the back. TMO might be looking to get a little active into this one as well, because they are shifted out. They are not in a prior position anymore. They might want to get aggressive on this. Look at Trinatopica coming over the top. He's wanted to take this into his own hands. This might be disaster for both of these teams. I don't feel like this is going to go clean for anyone, Mark.
He had to commit. Why did he not commit? He had the team with him. He just stopped completely, chucked the anchor out the ship. Now, with 2 that are knocked, he's looking to try and get the res, but I would kind of feel like AT might want to get aggressive on here. They are going to go for the res just now. The zone's about to creep on past. Phase number 4. It's not going to happen. TMO, I think they will be the victor. AT do get the res in time. More time from them. Looking to try and evac.
Where did they go at this point? Ascend has shifted on over as well. They're going for the kill points here on the edge. They smell blood in the water. They've seen that fight. They know that they can punish here. It's a bit of an awkward angle, but it's a good peek from Hero to close out Wild Division. Game 7 done for them. Aogiri 3. That name absolutely breaks my tongue every time I say it. Are going to be battered though. I don't think they're getting in all too far in this. They might opt for the blue healing here. They could put their meds on one player and try to delay for as much as they can, but making it past TMO and Ascend is not looking likely.
He should have committed. Wild, why did he not commit? He second guessed it. Back to the antics on the other side though. TMO hold a little bit of compound. Back on the other side though. Will die. Looking to try and take the fight. MSJ rotate back their way, but not seeing 100 ADR clean those kills. Get one. 100 ADR do get the other. Low kill points at the moment for them. They're looking maybe just to get in their placement points. Loads of teams still remain. 13 up here. Grocery moving on. They were centralised up. Catch Kite going across as he has to do a little 180. Reverse his way into safety. Find the base of the mountain.
Big send. Big send. All across the map. Still 2 on the south. Chris and Payne still hanging out there, but they are now getting hunted down by multiple teams as well. Guard. My favorite name.
He's alive. He's alive.
He's alive and kicking, but he's in a 1v2, and I think they've heard him now. Nailup is looking. Eva's pulling out the util. He's only got a smoke to work with, though. Might look to fall back, group up, and yeah, there's the shots. Win or die getting involved. Brex is out. Ascend not looking super safe in the new position that they just took.
I think it was about the under anchor in the hold. Just loading. He gets completely flattened as he jumps out the car, does a little 360 spin and gets one down. The car says otherwise, and then the M-Man come and sweep the remainder, the leftovers from the myth off. They became a bit of a myth after that push, but send both of them down here. There's no reservoir, and M-Man's just going to go 2 free kills. Thank you very much.
That's a nice little bit of payback. Just from the early game, they lost 2 to Ascend. Now Metanificative is bringing those back, and Killy falls on the other side. Not working out for Ascend as they would have liked. They secured a few points here, but not as many as they would want. Hopefully enough to keep him in that top 8. Nailup takes down Garth on the southwest side. And we're going down to a lot of small teams here. A lot of duos, a lot of solos. Trying to work their way in, Mark. With just a few strong teams left. One of them being without dope in one of the only compounds as well.
But you think about it, without dope, really low down the leaderboard here. We've got win or die. Looking to try and get in. Redline are in. They're on that 40-point mark you're talking about, so they're trying to salvage what they can. Grove Street want to maximise as many points as they can. Panther comes out on the adjacent side. The Pico bus swings on past. Azun takes a couple more shots, but another team trying to send it towards the base. And Project Axlef picks up Nailup as he just pulls in. It's the final player for them. I think he's just going to see the dead bodies of Ascend and realise this might not be such a safe space as I thought it was.
Didn't work out for one team, not likely to work out for the other. So many angles around. The smoke can help for a bit, but there's so much damage has already come in. It does not matter. Redline out again. Not looking hot in this one. ADR farming a few points here or there. Just picking up a few of these kills. They've woken up a little bit. Getting into this one. As we see the men not able to get into zone here. Too many players holding them out. I think it's Mad Indicative, and then it was throw on the other side, but not for long. Last one up, 7 first aids. He'll go loot Ascend. That's probably 10 more, and then he can live here happily ever after. He can even switch on over to looting all those TMO bodies. If he doesn't mess up the first aid timings, he could be around for a while.
Well, all I took from that was you're telling me Ascend stack meds. I reckon he can get away with it. It's a bit of open field. I don't expect, though, as we saw back-to-back victories from Tago Femming, I don't think they're going to go back-to-back on Rondo unless something magical happens, or we see the King of the Blue like Beamy, and he would just hope and pray that without dope, despite losing the zone, they might have to move in now. He could sneak his way back through the compound. We'll have to wait and see. It's not a bad zone. Has lost that sort of pillar. Win or die, they're going to be happy. Gone. Done.
He's gone. Out. Back to the training grounds. Back to sandbox mode. Getting into a match and practicing the blue healing for a few hours. Gotta have that down. If you're a comp player in 2025, you gotta have that down. It's just become the meta. Hero has made it in. He's right behind Vaso here, right behind Kristalny, Project Ice Lift. He could be an absolute pain in the backside, especially when they start moving, because he will also try and delay this for as long as he can. I see a Panzerfaust there. They're ready for a breach, but I don't think that's a breach that's coming. I don't think anybody's interested at the moment.
Be a big ask. It would be a big ask, right? Everyone's playing in open terrain. It's all about how much you can hold out. What worries is there's multiple teams here with low ammo. Really, really low ammo. Enough though for Didrox. He has the barrel, which he's got enough ammo to try and close this one out. But be careful with those mini shots. We're right in such a strong position. want to try and maximise their points. Currently on 4. Can they try and take out Hive? Scrap that. Can they try and make it 5? But it's not going to go in the way of win or die.
Big points for Hands of Hope as well.
Yep.
They need these. They're still on the cutoff. Hero is going aggressive. No idea on the other side. He must have thought that was a teammate. They must have thought that was just each other. Now Hero can look for a second here. He can try to connect the shots. He can even try to follow this one up. If everybody's looking at the car, he might live here for a bit.
No way.
Smoke comes out. Vasel's got the spot. Vasel should have this.
Vasel has got the spot, but I don't know if he knows. He's got danger on the other side. That tree, the bush, is keeping him alive. A little bit of a rock here. You'd want to maybe position that car a little bit further, but he's got the time. The smoke will give enough cover for now. 80. Move on through. Vasu has to juggle between the two. He does think he's not in the best spot. He's going to move the car a little bit further in, away from the danger to a degree, but Sloy says no. Grove Street will fall, 7th place. Good hold, though, from them. They don't need to move. They've popped the smoke as well. They're trying to deny the shots from Win or Die. And now trying to figure out who the hell was Grove Street shooting at.
They're going to be upset about that. Completely ruined by the solo. It does happen. Happens quite regularly. Hero's going to get himself into play zone for now. Going to try to delay as much as he can. I hope that the teams around them are busy, but they're not. Without Dope, they lose just chilling. But they take care of their western side. Kill point, placement point, all gathered. If they manage to take out Hands of Hope, then suddenly they're looking at a pretty good game.
We lose the east now. Do I need to try and move in? 100 AR sweeping that south side. They do get the knock. FAMAS in hand. Jadrox will fall. Big nade will go over. Without Dope looking to try and capitalise, you say, but he's just falling short at the moment. And they, again, they're in zone. They don't need to move. They've kind of made their own little fortification, reinforcing the shield. Scrap that, reinforcing the secondary shield. So we'll stack these up. Nade will go through, cause the car damage, and that car's only going to explode and maybe send the first shield away. But for now, gets away with it. I need more util to come through here without Dope.
Folded shield doing so much work, even if that late nade comes, right? So beautiful. Even the double setup. These things are absolutely massive. And they are in zone for another time mark.
Yep.
They are just chilling. Can't say the same for Without Dope here. They have to contend for every centimeter of circle space.
Problem is they've got the pressure, and there's a lot of pressure coming from 100 ADR. They need to find their way in. Without Dope trying to find the right way around, but hands off that double, that duo, is really stopped Without Dope from moving. Now they're refocused their way back. QBU in hand. Shots going through, not getting the fight connection all the way. And unfortunately, no helmet. Goes down. MSJ will go. At least we're in the top 4. So there's not much placement taken here from Without Dope. Only 1 kill. Maybe really relying on these placement points. And 100 AR, they're looking to try and bag themselves to win.
Looking good in this one. Win or Die, only 2-man up as well. 3 duos that they have to work through here. They don't have to work through them just yet, but I'm not sure what they're going to be playing if they don't take this space. They've got a tiny little shed leg building in front of them. But that's not looking super hot either, with a big open field right behind it. They would love to take out one of these duos. They are split, so this is, in the end, a 2v2. This is not a fight where they can use their numbers advantage. And the players who still have util are the 2 players that are gone, the players that are not involved in this. So unless they group up here, ADR, this is not going to be all that easy.
They have to, right? They're trying to push around that north. I can't see it happening. There's not much of a ridge line to play, especially with Win or Die already moving. They're going to now maybe provide some punishment back towards 100 ADR. 7 kills. Game so far. I think they're trying to figure out exactly where the second player is. Oh, the zone's just right in the middle. PUBG doing PUBG things. No one's getting the zone. We are phase number 8, and everybody needs to find a home in the rice field.
Oh, I love what Rox is doing, though. He's making the moves. He's getting close. Yeah. He's getting aggressive. If that nade connects, that would be massive. They have 2 folded shields. Remember, they have a double setup. So one of them will always be blocked.
Oh, wow.
And just like that, it is caught, but the nade comes through. Nabat knocked. There's probably no res on Rox, though. He was so on his own devices. He was so on an island. If he somehow finds 2 with the nade there, if he somehow survives, it's a huge play for Win or Die.
Yeah.
This way, yes, he did the damage, but he's not getting away with any of the points here.
No, I didn't know if Presentius may have another car and just go confirm out, but he's not going to be the case. He has to try and hold. Now he comes over the top here. 100 ADR with the Grocer in hand, looking to try and finish, but he knows he's roughly there, but needs to try and draw in the peak. He doesn't need to draw the peak in when he sees the head of Vicente. Oh my God, tucks him in with the AUG. That's not what 100 ADR needs. The Vesto, Hakim, is completely gone. The helmet is being held together with duct tape, and they are trying to salvage. They will move their way in towards the field. That's played into the hands of. As they take the opportunity to get the res and move closer. He's just seen him. He just seen him. Hakim is going to try and hold zone.
Gonna get the reload in. Rough stuff for ADR. They would have loved to keep these players alive, like you said. They would have loved to just farm Hands of Hope as they make that approach, but they're so busy themselves that it just happens. Presenti, not sure if he was trying to blue heal or if he was trying to deny. He does go out. It's phase 8. It's gonna lock in the star right between Hands of Hope and ADR. 8 frags on ADR, so they've done the work this game. They've put in the numbers. They would love to win out on this one. Love to take it home. And as battered and bruised as they are, this is not a free one. Yes, they have numbers advantage, but this is extremely losable.
They're in the pocket as well, right? They're in a line for Hands of Hope. So Sloy now working that out. He's moved himself to ability that he can actually stand up. If they can keep him here, that'd be really beneficial. But they have the numbers advantage, 100 ADR. Nabat moves now using the rock to cover, plays himself forward. They haven't got the heavy util, only one flash there, but that's going to be the guy at the very, very front. I'm really intrigued to know if 100 ADR have actually figured out the move. Now they try and catch the second. They do catch the second. And it looks like 100 ADR trying to punch this game out. And that should be a victory for them as they full charge forward.
Yeah, as soon as they get that spot and as soon as they hear the flash coming in, they know the game's up. They know that
Very
man's on the rock and they can now use the util to push him out. It's a risky push, but the util is there to help. Nabat even gets jump shot at the end. ADR with another banger. They started the tournament with one and now in game 7 they come back. 20 points for them, 10 frags. That was not easy on that southern side. We saw them sort of getting torn apart in between these two teams. We saw how much damage they were taking, right? It's a big win for them. And I think that means they're looking really good for next week's Masters.
I think they might have secured their spot in the Masters here, but let's not take anything away. That zone was chaotic. Win or die holding on. I reckon Presenti and the guys before. Do you know what? Let's tab out now. Let's not give any points over because they're a team chasing down these final couple. I love how some teams played it. I think there's a few shocking moves as well from the sometimes like Wild slowed down on the cars, maybe a full send there that could have changed things up. We saw Grocery drop the ball, obviously expecting someone else to be in the compound, but it wasn't a neighbour and friend. So lots of chaos though. And I think that's part and parcel of Rondo for myself. But really good game. I think there's only one more to go. It's quite difficult now. They've only got one more opportunity. If you are below that, below 8, you're on 9th, down to 16. You've got to try and maximise what you can. And being Arango in the final game, everybody knows it is the well-rehearsed map.
It is. As I said yesterday, right? They know their hands like their pocket. They know Erangel like their back pocket. There we go. That was the one I wanted to say. And yeah, it's going to come down to that map. I think we see Hands of Hope and ADR both getting away with good games here, right? Sloy Jacket, I think he had 6 for himself. So good point injection there. And oh, it was actually TMO getting both those knocks. Okay, I thought it was Mad Nicative just ruining them from the back, but he was just cleaning up the pieces. That makes a lot of sense.
The car also helping. They didn't need that, did they? But no, and to be fair, he also only got one of the additional kills. That was mad. He must have thought it was the body. But this is a really good play. Big shout for the handoff, though. They held on to zone. A double shield play really, really worked out. Presenti refusing to go down as well. Good end, jump shot to the ends, jumping our way into victory. Look, I am a fan of I call it the wildcard maps. I know every map in this format is a wildcard, but I do like him because it does give opportunities for different styles of play, minus Godok. But actually, some of the teams capitalise. 180 are able to bag 10 kills and a win. That's huge for them, Karo.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of trying to say, right? It's 100 ADR and Hands of Hope. They were 5th and 6th. They both get away with good games here. That means they're kind of choking a bit of the air out of the lobby here because they are looking to lock themselves in. We said Bushido looked good. We said Ascend looked good, right? That's already 5 slots being taken. And then you're only playing for the last 3 or so. I think we're going to be playing for 3 or 4 slots in the last map. But we shouldn't take anything of that away. We're going to look at the leaderboard when we come back, right, Mark?
We will look at the leaderboard when we come back, and it is the final game, though. Week number 2. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be a wrangle. See you guys in a few.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
And we are back one last time for tonight. One last game to close it all out, Mark. We have 7 out of 8 games done, and we have a leaderboard with 7 out of 8 games on it. So I think we should have a look.
So Warriors won. You got to remember, this is the last game, the last opportunity for yourself to get across that threshold. And we're looking for the top 8. The top 8 only. A lot of that is split by a couple of points here and there. If you get into the top 8, you're going to be in a chance to get you in for $20,000 coming next week. And actually, with Win or Die clawing their way in, it's not safe for a few of these teams. Redline, the Myth-Off, Win or Die, they are going to be hunted down, hounded down. But some of these teams on the right-hand side need to have a huge and explosive final game. Yeah,
and then some of the teams just need a single point, right? That's how close it is. I think if you're Redline, you're almost feeling okay here. There is just too many teams that want to catch you, right? Like, a lot of these teams can easily pass Redline, but we need 3 of them to do it in the same game. So they're looking pretty comfortable. They're looking pretty okay. Everybody below that is still fighting for it. And if Redline fumble completely, if they flip a bike in phase 1 and lose half of their roster and then end up with 0 points in the game, then there's still a chance that they go out as well.
Did that happen? I can't remember. Definitely not on a
just a random thing that crossed my mind, you know? Nothing.
Definitely. But I think the most important bit of that it is the final game. It is game number 8, the final opportunity for these teams to get into it. Let's get over. It's going to be a wrangle. Flight path, though, well, it's not too bad. It's coming in from that kind of northeast down to the southwest, right through the heart, right through the soul of the green pastures. It's going to be our final game here. I do like this one, but I do need to watch out for those teams you said that are on that cut-off line, the red lines, the win or dies, the TMOs. They can't risk anything. They can't be as freely moving as some of our teams like Ascend, some of our teams like M-Man, who will now know, and Bushido, that they've secured their spot, should we say. So they might play slightly different here on game number 8.
It's one of the biggest downfalls, though, as well. When you can't risk playing a bad game, and then you start playing like you can't risk anything. that is a really bad way to go down as a team. Ascend once again landing very close to the men, but Grove Street is going for a full-on hot drop. They want the shelter loot spot, and Bushido does not want to give it up. 4v4 in the compound is beautiful. I said 4v4. Valzo's not here, so numbers are instantly in the advantage of Grove Street, but that's a big equalizer from Voxes.
They got a little bit of a hold. Shotgun in hands. Takes the peek on the outside. The Uzi, well, whistles past. They do get one. The shotgun takes the effect, so they're not going to get out of this one clean. Scott, he needs to get the reload on time. He needs reinforcements. 2 down. Arrow, Metabait. We're going to try and hold. Arrow holding the outside edge. And it's going to be teams that might even look on the inside. The handoff here. Here comes the car coming in. Arrow repositions. Oh, nearly gets one over. He swaps out. He's running out. 3 left in the chamber. The pistol comes round and it's clean. He spends the mag too early. And Bushido will fall. 1 confirmed out. And they're going to play the final game now as a 3.
Oh, that is disaster for Iroh there. He doesn't know where to go anymore. He's stuck in between both of them. Gets tagged down low and gets taken out with a pistol in the end. That's absolute BM. That's disaster. It's a big frag, though, coming in. I'm not sure who it was with the Uzi. I think it was Kristalny with the Uzi, who takes down Metabay with the shotgun, right? The shotgun was the absolute Terminator in that fight. That was the Juggernaut to take down. Yes. And them managing to do that was absolutely crucial. And also them realizing that they should get out of here. I love that. Them getting out. If they don't wait around too long for that additional car, then that's a really good play. Because they could have an idea. Their hands of hope are getting close, but it's not looking like they're super well aware, actually, Mark. It's looking more like a coincidence.
Oh, painful. I think if you didn't see it once, you get to see it again. Spray obviously moving forward. This is the problem, right? There's the half spray. Now he takes some whistling shots past, so he has to move forward. And he's done the right thing. He just spent so much of that mag early on. If he stayed in the gap, he would have gone down from the Uzi. He had to push forward. I like the play. Grove Street thinking they're going to escape here. They move back, and Project X left. Well, Sloy knocking on the Hall of Fame. Yeah,
I was giving them a lot of credit for realizing this was a thing. I don't think they really realized. They were just resetting, getting more vehicles. They probably didn't even see Hands of Hope parachuting to the shelter area, so they didn't have a chance to know. Now, I do think Kristani has brought the car inside, or at least to the backside. Yeah, he's brought the bike inside. So he has a chance to get out of this alive, because Sloy Jacket, to get involved, does have to creep up much further, does have to expose himself. So if Kristani decides to drive out on the north or on the west, he actually has a chance of survival here. But if he's walking out into the open like this, there's no way he can go. He gets a bit of a jump scare, gets taken back to lobby. And Hands of Hope, they're looking for more here. They're looking for these players in prison as well.
Don't need the points. Well, maybe they do. 47 on the cut-off where it was yesterday. Last week. Feels like yesterday. Madness. I think they're a team that is secure at the moment, but every additional point will just move them further into that kind of Masters seat zone. Obviously, we actually get an opportunity to catch up with zone. So it does move back onto that sort of southwest corner. 6v.
Oh.
Tucks late. Unfortunately for them, a little bit too far out. You can make some huge damage here, but MSJ get the first knock. Looking for the spray. Zero swag gets the shots on. Does catch him at the end of the final spray. And they are just going full send. Oh my god, can he get the second? Does he get it? Oh no, he does get it. Final player moves into position as well. Needs a bit of reinforcements, and he does catch it. That's 4 kills. That's explosive. That's half the amount of kills they've got already, Koho.
That is absolute fire. That was a lot of AK headshots coming out. Did you see those damage indicators popping off? That was a lot of AK headshots back to back. That's big for Tuxley. I'm not sure if it's too little too late, but it's going to feel nice to at least get something going in the last game. If you've been on the shorter end of the stick for the rest of the day. Now, Black Hive looking to do similar things. Early aggression, but their opponent is probably the most scary one. And just like that, Nicative shows his head for 1 second to peek on over and take out Marchell. And now they know this is a team that's really hard to mess with. If you want to commit, do it now. This is a good angle from X-Vampire. But is it going to be enough? I don't think so. The res has already come through. The smoke wall is there. The coordination is on point for the men.
They are. Black Hive are a team that need to get into a top 8 position, right? So, top on the qualification dimension before. Right top. And unfortunately getting caught a little bit there by the window ledge. Vampire takes a bite out of it. A few hits, but not enough. Black Hive have to reposition. It's going to be dangerous. I think these guys are going to have to play out as a 3 now.
Gonna be a bit of a messy one now. Mossboard getting an off angle. Everybody trying to get off angles for themselves. Trying to find openings to not let this fight slow down forever. Oh, goody 3. Remember, they were in 9th place. They were just chasing, just 1 point behind. But now they're losing one to It's Chris. Do they get one back though? Ascend is going crazy. Ascend is flying in. Paints out instantly. Do they realize there was a second in the car though? I'm not so sure. Killy jumps out late.
Seen him.
Seen him now. Doesn't want to let him get inside the building. But this is an absolute mess. Keely is using the camera. Still gets put down. What? That's a nice hipfire headshot.
Let's go. It does catch him as well. Rexco waits, disciplined. Catch 80 on the roof. Unfortunately, using the angles doesn't go into his favour. Have to try and hold out. Brex on the adjacent side, so they all split. I'll try and deal with Ascend from both sides here. And with the guys sitting in the corner, I think they're going to get third-partied. Grove Street, unfortunately, full. That's the end of them. They've not sent it through. Pains confirmed. We're out dope. That's a point on the board. Again, the team. That's the team you kind of want to be watching here. How many of these can they get the second? That could be huge.
They need to stay alive in this if they want to stay alive in the tournament. If they want to play next weekend. If they want to play for the big money. Shots coming in from afar now. Chris gets the looting in. He has no bullets. 0. Is Brex having 0 as well? What is going on there? I'm not sure if that's some sort of visual bug. If they're actually both out of bullets, that would be crazy. Okay, just a bit of a bug. Brex does still have bullets. It's just Chris who's empty. But he has found a body to loot. He has found a body to restock. They get a full reset in this, but so does AT here.
He's looking for the bison, mate. He's looking for the bison. To get one. But unfortunately, Chewy picks up Brex on the roof. As he will give that point up. And I think he's trying to get the point up. But Wild. I do confirm. Not just 1, but 2. It's a couple of points for them. They teach trying to figure out exactly where the remaining players are now of Ascend. Because it can be a bit of a nuisance. But they do opt to now go for that res time. It's taken for it. Smokes are going to start dissipating. And it's Chris in the open. Oh, he just mistimes it. That's unfortunate. ZT, not just 1. There's Kiliakai's nade. It's going to get that knocked down again. So if they're going to res it, they're going to be quick.
He lost the 1v1 with Secret Sense earlier. He lost the hipfire battle. Is he going to take it again? He's looking for it in the building. They're dancing with each other. And again, Secret Sense comes out on top. The man's got hipfire in down. And they stay true in this. They get the frags onto Ascend. Not all of them, but the majority. Give themselves a chance for top 8 here. Every single point matters, but the teams in front of them They're the ones you got to be watching out for. You got to be watching out for win or die in the myth off. If they are putting points on the board, it's going to get so much harder.
Come on, Tuxley. Welcome in. Game number 8. Being aggressive, making aggression on the compound now, trying to take advantages. Wild have lost 1, so they are a 3. And Chewy does get the opening knock here. Tuxley, well, going to go for a bit of verticality as they do get onto the roof. The nades do come through, but nothing connecting just yet.
Oh, he's so open there. Not ready for the roof angle. It's a classic. First person or third. Roofs are just so powerful. Great. That's the one thing you got to worry about if you're on a roof. Everybody knows, and everybody wants to nade you off. We've played this game 1,000 times. They have still found an opening here, and they have slowed down Wild Division. It's looking like a possible push now. He's got a nade in hand. Guard. Might come around the corner, though. Might come around tight armor, though. He's clean with it.
Very clean. Sneaks his way past as he's jumping over to the other side. Oh no, he's in. Cautious. Free fire comes through, but he gets caught by his own team. So he dances in front of the hold. Mama. Nade will go through. That should be confirmation enough. He has to send it out. He does. Gets out clean. Now comes the push. He tries to catch the angle. He gets PUBG'd on the wall. The gun goes sky high. He whips around and takes the helmet off. He's holding on. Chewy's the remaining player here for Wild.
And he's stuck. There's no way. No way Arma loses that. And no way Chewy is stuck in the fence. Oh, that's crazy. He's got to nade the fence to get out, but he doesn't want to do it just yet. He's scared he's going to die himself. The man just got absolutely PUBG'd. That's crazy. Oh, no. That is so crazy.
Oh, no. And just to end it all, a long distance shot. Goodbye, Chewy. Oh, that's painful. That is painful.
What a sad ending to the tournament for them. That is rough. Didn't really make a difference, most likely. But you hate to be going out like that.
Might be making a difference too without dough because they need the additional points. So there's another one. There's another one underneath their belt. 80, after holding out the compound with a send, the handoff, circle round and try and grasp their grip without dope, having to go full send despite finding Chewy caught between a fence and a container. And 3 kills. Looking to try and get a bit of verticality themselves and close out and at least find the remaining players.
I think they've called off the hunt here. They're not looking for the solo. They insted one of the teams, and that's enough for them. Repositioning into the prior compound that they have. Good compound to be playing out from. Plenty of angles, plenty of opportunities to move into a later game. Especially with the circle so centralized on it.
Yeah.
They want to bring this one home, Mark. They don't want to take any risks. Clearing out a solo, it can be a good way to get a point, but with teams around you looking to punish, I don't think they want to take the risk.
They've left one there as well. Just on the high ground, overwatching the compound. So
yeah.
They know it's there. I think you're right. Like, even if you go exchange or trade out, where you send multiple bodies in there and one of you gets knocked, to the risk of actually having an additional player flushed, you don't want to be in that spot, especially where you've got that centralized compound. The handoff, so before trying to grasp their hands on AT, not quite there at the moment. The trees providing the cover, the hard compound, providing it here, and they go for a full send. They had no idea the spray will come in from the orb, gets a great connection, and more to follow. Somehow he's got away with a bit of a warning shot across the bows.
Picks up the bike, sees if he can get the knock, doesn't get the knock, disengages. Good stuff from Slow Jacket. Not overstaying is welcome. Doesn't want to get run on by the compounds. Circle goes north, straight onto the Gatka field. TMO, they were on a pre-drive, and they realize now, well, Gatka's mighty fine. We can hang out here for another zone. You can see as well, you can look at the map, and you can see at the team that still have much to lose, right? You see your win or die centralized up southwest of Gatka, TMO in Gatka, without dope. Old center now a bit off to the southern side, 4-man playing the compound. Everybody that's playing exceptionally safe are the teams that really need the points on the leaderboard.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, especially when I look at a team like Win or Die. They want to stay above safe spot. They're in there at the moment, but especially when you see teams around them, 18 in the kill feed already. We've already seen without dope, they're going kind of full send to try and maximize their points. And you're in a compound, no one's pushing your way. You've got to try and secure that victory every way you can. Getting those additional 10 points might mean the difference, but it might even come down to how many kills they can get on the back of it. Redline, great 2-2 split. TMA really called it. They were leaving Gatco, they're expecting the south shift. No need for them. They go back to the hard cover they've got. But this is going to be an interesting ending. No kills, win or die. Just worry about it.
Calm before the storm. Things slowing down quite a lot. When I die, they gotta keep the car safe. That's the main trouble with this compound. You can see Wubuki is trying to pop whatever he can get. Maybe farm some kills later on. Plenty of teams sort of repositioning. Figuring out what they want to do with the circle. I look at that map stream and I see AT going for a big send.
Yep.
Taking the 1 stories right in the hands of Redline. Not a bad position mark, but much harder to move out of than their old one if the circle does shift west or north or anywhere else.
It is a gamble. It's a real big gamble here, isn't it? Whether they scouted it, whether it was just a blind send, they have to move forward. We'll have to wait and see. So, 36 seconds away before we will know. If we do see that western shift, they are solely relying on it coming back towards that chopsticks, playing back towards the east. And you have to, arguably, if that happens, deal with the red line. They just need to keep their head safe. But again, like win or die, it means they're not going to be farming kills. They're going to be hunkering down and trying to play for a win.
Every single placement point you get is a point everybody else can't get. It's a good recipe for these later circles, later games. Phase 4 about to come on in. It's going to tell us a lot more about where we're ending. And it does go so hard on without dope. And this is what I mean. I mean, yes, you've moved more centrally if you were AT here. Now you've got to go back out. You've got to worry about getting shot out of your vehicles. You've got to be worried about losing a few tires. Would have been a lot more mobile from their old position. But they do have a chance to take some shots now at Redline. And I mentioned Naleb's big head. He's the one that gets headshot out of the car. And I'll swallow all my words. They got themselves a point here, AT, so clearly not the worst move.
Whee! TMO arriving start. Oh, spray as well. Catch 1, but 2 go down without dope. Great play from them. Unfortunately, the car was not a helping factor. TMO unable to keep all 4 wheels, not just for the first game, but now for the second. Justice well away from it. He didn't want to be flattened again. This has happened without Dope getting those bodies back up as quick as they can. And Justice, unfortunately, the final player now. And the myth off, well, hopefully they don't become a myth. This game, not in the placement points yet. They've got no kills. They're down to 1 player. And more teams, well, I'd argue to say they're already ahead of him at this point.
Yeah, he just needs to clutch that one up. He needs to get something going, but I think Slow Jacket has his number. He's gone. He's out. Even if he makes it down that hillside, Slow Jacket not gonna miss. Without Dope, gonna pick up the points and win or die. Demythov, excuse me, 2 points ahead of Agori Tree before this game.
And they've got those kills already.
And they've got those kills already. And Win or Die has a placement point. So if Win or Die gets a single placement point more, or a single kill more, then TMO is gone.
Well, AT, short destructions, one of them takes a tumble. Red line confirmed the molly. They will now try and hold him out. AT, I think they're more focused on that kill feed. Seeing TMO go down, might have changed their antics and realising they could be in there for a shot here. And that's not what you need. 8th place, it's an additional placement point. I think they've done enough. Win or die. We need to continue moving forward as well. When we find ourselves in the top 6 position, and we'll be happy. And they were actually one of the teams that refused to leave. They were not part of the Great Migration South. And they stayed in their compound waiting for the zone to catch up with them.
Yeah, they decided to play the fields. Not a bad shout. Not a bad play. You said AT have done enough? We'll have to wait and see if it's enough. Because there is still without dope here, right? They could still push themselves in. They could still win this game. They got 6 frags already. So they have closed that gap. And they're still kicking. They're still racking up kills. They're still racking up placements. If they play well this game, if they finish well this game, then they might be the one claiming that 7th or 8th place. Win or die, if they stay alive in these fields, if they can manage to outsurvive ADR somehow, then they're also looking big, so... TMO is the only one that knows that they're out. Redline, win or die, without dope, they're all still fighting for it.
Yeah. It is going to come down to this last couple of circles. Every point is going to matter. TXV, 7 kills. 1 more, and they've conquered what they've done in 7 games. And there's only one player that can do this. Koro is grabbed. He finds himself yet again being the final player for the team.
Guard.
He's going to win.
Absolute boss name. Guard. Got 2 people walking into this building. He's got the AK ready. Doesn't find the first, though. Doesn't find it in time. Just like that, he's in a 2v1. Taken out, 7th place. Good last stand for Tuxlawena. But not meant to be now without dope, though. They're looking to benefit off of this. And Redline, they're looking struggling out of this compound. They're done. They're out. They're blasted. They didn't get a whole lot from this game. They're going to be at least shaking a little bit here, Mark. I think they might still be in, but it's going to get close.
I think it is. More teams are pushing up, and without dope not going out at the moment. It could be a deciding factor if someone's playing next week and the others are not. They did open up a little bit of a letterbox there. It's a Black Hive, but posted them out. Nothing's been connected. They are positioning themselves. I love that, though. Just double checking on that other window. He knows if he stands up, he's going to be exposed. So wants to kind of get the information from the team pushing him from the south from Hive, but doesn't want to expose himself to being knocked from the heel, from the handoff. Will die somehow able to get across the field. About 100 ADR, taking too many shots at them. They have moved into another position where they kind of can see Tedrox and the guys moving towards the base of their mountain. The zone shifting away from him here, Koa. I feel like Will put themselves in a position on the outside edge so they can actually start now taking fights, being a bit more aggressive, maybe securing their spot.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all. I think playing from the field is absolutely fine here. Taking space bit by bit. Big knock in the compound as well. Don't count out Black Hive just yet. Yes, they were at 12th place, but already getting themselves the 3 placements, getting themselves a few frags on the board. They're closing this gap mighty fast as well. There's a lot of teams that are in contention for this. And it's really only Hands of Hope and ADR that are already qualified. Everybody else is still fighting for every single point here. Win or die. Yes, they were looking better on the scoreboard when this game started, but 0 frags means the gap has shrunk considerably.
Tedrox up into TPP. Uses the smoke now just to double check those trees. Good play from him. That gives him a bit more of a springboard to launch that nade. So it does bounce. A little bit short though. And my bad does go down. That's from the other side. The handoff though sweeping him from the east. I'll have to now start to reposition these cars, knowing that they can't over peak that way. So they move their way back. So, well, it shifts on back towards the field, back the way Will or Die were. And they reposition to try and take a bit more of a stronger hold now, moving into the final zone.
It's another bit of a delay, but the compound has to pop off, Mark. The compound is not really big enough for 2 teams for all too long. Without dope, they might give it up for a bit. They will still hold the northern sides of it. ADR getting aggressive in the field here. Akim going into dangerous territory, but he wants to take the aggression here. He wants to take this to win or die. He doesn't want to let them just out-survive in the field here. He wants to close that out, wants to get more points for his team. Panzerfaust comes back at him. Be an absolute miracle if it connects. I've only seen one Panzerfaust ever connect on that range.
It's difficult. A bit more of a miracle. Well, I do like the position of the cars. Love they're using the smoke. They're trying to use the angle of the hill to their advantage as well. And you can't take anything away. 100 ADR applying that pressure. They were out of zone. You've seen the opportunity. And you gotta like it. But you're right. And unfortunately for the compound, it's going to be difficult. Without Dope, though, under pressure now, not just from one team, not just from Black Hive, but the handoff also putting bodies this way. They've got 3. Going to try and control them out as well. See if Without Dope can hold this one. It's a big mountain to climb. It's going to be difficult.
It's a dangerous game they're playing. They don't want to give this up because they know they need the kills as well, but if they're getting pressured too hard, then they will have to fall back, and that's what we're starting to see now. Just chilling, wants to make the connection as well to the rest of the squad. Scanning has already fallen back to the shack, but he's still looking. He's still hunting, fishing for a kill here or there, because they know they need every single point, right? They know that they have a gap to close, and they're also seeing this in the kill feed. They're seeing Win or Die still alive. They're seeing Black Hive right below them. They know that's a team that they want to take out, so they know, yes, we want to survive, but every single point matters. We might have to stay a little bit aggressive. Minimap looking like Black Hive is going to push over towards them as well. Looking like Skinning is going to be in a bit of trouble here in a second. As Win or Die down to 1 in the fields. ADR down to 0. Not a lot going on in the fields anymore, but the compound, it has to pop off.
Yep. Final players now. They should be able to get the res back to a 2. The handoff has been real crucial in this game. They've taken so many kills, 10 so far for them. As they are kind of bouncing between each fight. Compound to field. We might be coming back towards compound now. Top 4 remain. Handoff with 4. Without Dope with 3. There's one that is knocked. Not quite out just at the moment. Hive with 1. Wanna Die able to get back to 8-2 as well. Good use of util. As you want to try and maximize as many points they can. But deal with this solo before maybe taking a later fight. I don't think they've got the vehicles to rotate out as well as quickly as the handoff have.
Big knock, big res, and that's the final trade. That's Black Hive out. I think that's Black Hive done, but they got so close. Without Dope, important points for them. Even better if they manage to take out one of Hand of Hope here, but it's not looking likely. The vehicle transition is working out well for them, and they're looking to choke them out of the circle here. I'm not sure if Win or Die will have the angles on this. They're probably not too eager to overpeak all too aggressively at the moment, as they are getting pinned down from afar as well. But Hand of Hope is playing a dangerous game here. They have to get in somewhere, but they've got themselves in a pinch now. If they manage to out-survive Win or Die here, then they're looking good to win this game.
Yeah. Great shots though. They knew they had to get rid of it. It's actually rolled down towards the handoff. Right, sneaking their way out the compound. Why? Handoff. A few more eyes, and the temptation though from just chilling. Well, it's all about additional points. 10 on the board now for them as well. Final 2. 4 versus 4. One is knocked out. They do find the opportunity to split. So you can close this one out without Dope. This could be an explosive last game for them, but they need to keep the bodies up.
Already losing 1, 4v3 now. Time's up as well. Look at the map. They have to move out of this compound now. They're losing space. Bit more util picked up for Skinning. He's trying to let it rain. He's trying to take Nabat out without having to expose himself all too much. If any of these nades land, they could be absolutely massive. He's still looking for the intel, though. He doesn't know exactly where they're playing. They have quite a wide ridge to work with. It's going to make it hard to place the util. I think he had a blue zone as well that chokes out some of the space, but if you don't land it, if it's not on the money, it is just a waste of resources. Time is ticking down, Mark. It ain't looking good for Without Dope.
No, they need an initial knock here. That might divert the way they sort of push in. Great nade. Bit of damage. Kind of got the idea of where they are. Fortunately, that smoke about to dissipate. I don't think he really knows exactly where to kind of post it. And with the handoff, able to draw the line in the grass. Well, they're looking to try and set this one. 11 kills for them, 4 alive. Make that potential soon to be 12. Snamebat takes the opportunity to play peekaboo really well. And he also goes back down to the grass cover. He's able to find the next player, lining the shots up, looking to try and take the next player down.
Yeah, he might have waited too long with the nades here, Skinning. Now the stand-up is there for Nabat. He connects
well
because
played.
you've seen him already. Headshot instantly there and looking for a third. Nice spray with the AUG. So much damage coming in. Surely that's enough. Yes, Hands of Hope in the last game. They come back with a big win. They're locking themselves in. No doubt about it. They play that clean until the end. But I am lost now, Mark. I am lost. I don't know who made it at all. I know that a lot of teams got very close, and I think it's going to be stacked. But I'm shaking. If I'm Redline, for example, I don't even know if I'm in anymore. I think I am, but who knows at this point?
There's a couple which we got a question, right? TMO, straight off the bat, they're going to know that back-to-back car, we're unable to be able to park the car. I think they've lost their chances. But
yeah,
the question is, without Dope, have they done enough? Have they been able to sort of claw? I like how they played that game. They were aggressive, but they also knew when to disengage. We saw that disengagement, and obviously they played back towards centralized compound. They had to hold the compound. Got to give it to them on that play. I do worry, though, when it comes to the last game, is it always too little, too late at the end? Have they got enough points? I do think it's going to come down to the wire, though.
It comes down to the wire for so many of them. I think Black Hive made a really good push as well. I don't know how many frags they were able to get. We saw them clear that bottom one story, right? We saw them get into what I believe is the top 4 of this game.
Yeah.
So lots of placement points there as well. But again, we're playing 8 games. You can't just bring it back in the last one. And we saw that for some of the teams there as well. TMO, I think they played a solid tournament. But in the end, if you're coming down to the last game, you need points in the last game. One rotation doesn't work out for you. You flip your way through the middle of a compound, and suddenly your game is over. So, rough stuff for them. We started off with a bang. We ended with a bang. I thought that shotgun there was probably game over, but in the end, it is the deagle that comes on through.
I love it. And that actually confirms that with the car as well. Obviously struggled a little bit on the 8 games. And get a team, I said it before, I expect them to be a little bit higher up, but just not there. This was chaotic, though, as Tux late. What about the initial shots with the AK? And then the controlled ending. But not fair party action. A lot of teams looking to try and farm the points, and there's a few teams here who didn't need to farm the points, but were just being menaces.
Yeah, just going crazy, right? And then a few teams who tried their best. And a few teams who got stuck in a fence. Sometimes things go a bit poorly if you play PUBG.
Look at that.
It's the beauty of the game. It's a very cruel game sometimes. And TMO are going to be disappointed in this one, as they were staying in that top 8 for so long. But yeah, in the end, this was the turning point for Hands of Hope, where they just completely clapped Redline. No problems at all. I think they took 1 knock in the whole process, and it allows them to just take control here in the late game, take all the space they need, and clean it up nicely.
But that was all part and parcel of the teams were expecting it to shift towards that kind of northeast corner. They wanted to play back towards Chopsticks. We saw AT playing there quite aggressive. Redline won a 2-2 split, very much committed to that east side. The zone obviously had other options, went towards without Dope, and it was always going to be, for me, a time. Obviously, Redline used their vehicles. What time do they push is a bit more of a roll of the dice. But the handoff, you said that was the point for me. They started looking really, really strong because they were either doing 3-1 splits or 2-2. They never dropped the ball, whether it was on the north or teams trying to push on the sort of south.
Yeah, super solid. A lot of teams have shown so much good stuff, right? That's the thing in 8 games. You're going to see a lot of good and a lot of bad from some of these teams. A lot of them have impressed me. A lot of the qualifier teams have really come to play here, right? It wasn't sort of the invite show as much as it was on maybe the first time around. And a lot of these teams have really shown that they deserve to be here and that they deserve to be in those Masters. Again, yes, you have to be consistent, right? We talk about it all the time. You can't really drop the ball, but it's so hard. It's so hard in 8 games of PUBG. So much can happen. An unfortunate car flip, a rough circle at the wrong time, right? So much can happen. So these teams showing a lot of resistance to all the RNG that's going on around them, I think was really impressive.
I think it'd be worthwhile, though, for us to remind ourselves actually who qualified on week number 1, because we're on week 2 of the format, right? So we are looking for top 8. We need to double check all the points, because before we show that leaderboard, it was a very chaotic. But obviously we had 8 teams qualify through that, and we saw, you say it was the Invite Club, Kai, like the Foot Esports, Twisted Minds, GG, Slam, VP, GK, BB, all of the big names were working their way through. And that, for me, obviously they didn't qualify through. They expect them to be in this lobby again, right? But it has played really, really different. The top eight here are obviously key to go through, but I'd be really interested to kind of figure out who are these remaining qualified teams.
Yeah, we'll have a look because we talked about it so much. Okay, we got it now. Men, Hands of Hope, ADR, Bushido, Ascent. No surprises there. Red line, and then it's without dope, and it's win or die. Win or die, I think, with actually 0 frags in that last game, but just surviving long enough in the field, have made their way into the top 8, and have made their way into a $20,000 Masters on the next weekend.
And it came down to the last game, right? The Myth-Off, unfortunately, back-to-back car flips and antics means they dropped from that 7th spot, unfortunately,
Look how
all the
close.
way down. AT unable to get there. 2 points were in it. 2 points. And maybe they will be second-guessing that rotation in towards Chopsticks as they had to work their way back. And as a result, they lost bodies, 8 for AT.
So close. 8 games, and you're missing out by 2 points. That is the way PUBG goes, right? That's the way it always goes. But when you're looking back at these 8 games, you can find yourself a million things you did wrong and a million ways that you could have gotten yourself another point or another 2 points. But still, plenty of crazy plays, plenty of good PUBG that we've seen, even from the bottom 8 teams. I think they've really come to play. We've seen a few teams coming in here for the second time, right? Qualifying for a second time, for example, ADR. And already showing improvements and already showing that they've sort of gotten the hang of it now and working themselves very handily into a top 3 here.
Well, ADR, you got to remember, last week, week number 1, they only ended on 20 points, right? So they definitely got into the swing of things. Ascend wasn't too far away from them, 26 points for them, week number 1. Bushido also falling short with 32 points. So yes, they've had the first week down. They've gone away. They've learnt. They've adapted to the difference that TPP has to give. The old school way of PUBG, right? But again, I really like that it's come down to the wire. A couple of points here, a couple of points there, and more importantly, some of these teams deserving their spot. I think some will be disappointed, but this is an event or events that are going to happen throughout the course of this year. So for me, I suppose final statements is that if you're watching this, if you think you've got what it takes to get yourself into this part of the event, you've got to sign up for the scrims. Get into the scrims, get your team involved, and make sure you get enough points to get yourself in towards the player cups. We're in the player cups here. We've done week 1. We've done week 2 now. And Koho, well, we've already confirmed that some cash prizes, but we've got a top 8 on both of these weeks. We're now going to the Players Masters.
Going to the Players Masters on the next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So a best of 18. I haven't done the maths, but 18 is a lot more than 8. So you're going to get even more TPP action there, and you're only going to get the best. That lobby is going to be different, Mark. If you're just thinking about it, we're taking 2 lobbies, and we're just cutting out the bottom half. We're only taking the best teams from each lobby. The level is going to rise. It's going to be competitive as heck. And there's $20,000 on the line. So that's going to be a spectacle. We're going to see that next weekend. And I can't wait for it.
No, neither can I. As I said, I think the final thoughts for me really is all about that kind of next step, right? For me, the scrims, we saw teams come through on the top. They've come to this lobby. They've been invited teams. The level has increased. Some teams obviously didn't quite get it right week number 1. They came back for week 2. They've increased. They've leveled up again. I just expect they're going to be very explosive for next weekend. So for me, make sure you stay tuned. I don't know what your final thoughts are, mate, because I've had a lot of TPP action. I need to get back on and get some practice under my belt.
Don't throw the towel if you didn't make it this week. Don't throw the towel if you didn't make it through the scrims either. There is a very limited amount of spots. But there's plenty more scrims coming at you. There's plenty more player cups. There's plenty more masters. We're here for the whole year. We're not going anywhere. So we'll see you guys next week and play more PUBG.